Red Bull gives you wings.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Lore!
For a well-rested night, join Marriott Bonvoy. Not only do you get a masterwork chest, but also room upgrades, late checkout, and priority treatment. Use your points on money can't buy experiences, where maybe you'll meet these sleeping beauties. Marriott Bonvoy. Unlock exclusive member rates and legendary benefits across over 30 hotel brands worldwide. Sign up today for free and claim your masterwork chest and key.
Don't cancel it, no.
Hey, shouldn't you be on stage right now?
Hey, you got a pick. Tom Kent? What? I was not expecting this.
And a crazy off-meta pick that secured you the win. How did you come up with it?
Oh. I just listened to my gut.
If you had it all, would you look the fall in the eyes? Could you walk away this time? Will you realize, recognize it's never over? And the flame that once had died, awaken. Will you rise above the days to come? Will you be enough? Will you walk away this time? Look to your left, to your right, leave the pain behind. 'Cause we all face the fires, and we stray from the light. Go leave the pain behind. Feel that rush, feel the taste. Can you feel it? Rid the pain.
From winter, regular season, all the way to the summer finals, we have had a wild and exhilarating year of LEC, but I won't mince words, I won't lie to you, it's also been pretty friggin' messy. We've had throws, we've had upsets, we've had embarrassments, and everything in between. A sure thing can turn into a sure loss in the blink of an eye, and nothing really feels certain. Now there are 6 teams remaining, 6 teams who have shown us incredible ceilings, glimpses of brilliance, greater promise, a taste of top-level performance. But not a single one of them has been above criticism or doubt. Hell, G2 hold all 3 of our split shields, but they're fallible, they can fail, we've seen it before. The field is as open as it's ever been. 8 best-of-5s are all that remain for our top teams to find their footing, to show us how great they can be. G2, Fnatic, BDS, MDK, SK, and GX, we've seen each and every single one of them fall down, make mistakes, slip up. But the only question today is, and the only question that matters in our season finals, is who will rise? Welcome back to the LEC, live from the Riot Games Arena in Berlin, Germany. I'm Draco, joined here at the zone, desk, wall by Goldberg and Aragon. It has many names, all of them not important. What is important is we have 6 teams left, and it's now Goldberg's job to tell us how they got here.
What a smooth transition, Draco. That was incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
so you explained it as well in your little cold open as well. We do have those 6 teams, so it's made it all the way here. It's quite simple how they got here, really. G2 won every single split we've had so far, which meant that Fnatic and BDS, they had to qualify by being top 3 in summer, and the rest was really just championship points, which was the consistency throughout all of the splits.
And that leaves us with a pretty interesting bracket. Of course, you're familiar with our old format here in the LEC, the previous format before this one. You might recognize it. It's old playoffs. Aragon, break it down for us.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it, right? And I'm looking at the bottom bracket. It screams to me how close the whole thing actually is. You look at Giant X, I think that's the biggest evidence of this. And they even went 1-2 versus BDS and Fnatic. So it just shows, I feel like, in my opinion, that most teams can contest at least top 3.
Yeah, and it's also what's running for that World spot as well. But contrary to popular belief, you need to make top 2 to get to Worlds, at least as a guarantee. Because right now, G2 has already qualified through summer. So even if MDK were to win and make it into that top 3 spot, they haven't made it yet because G2 retained the top 3 spot.
Yeah, if G2 drop out, you got to be top 2. If they're in, it could go as far as top 3, but we'll just have to see how it unfolds for now. Of course, there's another update. Patch 14.15, you might have seen it in other regions, but it's the first time we'll be seeing it in LEC. And who better to break down the newest addition, Aurora, than our own little bunny boy himself, Finn. Take it away.
Oh my god. Thanks, Dracos. If you're seeing this champion for the first time, you might want to go and check out lec.gg/Aurora for more information. While the newest champion added is called Aurora, she's this close-range mobile battle mage who tries to keep you at an arm's length at all time. I mean, I want you to think like Vayne, if Vayne was like a burst mage with an AoE magic damage nuke, Jarvan ult. Yeah, okay. Aurora works well in either solo lane, but I think she's more suited to the top lane, where her range allows her to bully out whomever dares to enter her peripheral. And here I want you to see me in solo queue traumatizing a poor Fiora, just because I can show you it. With a quick Q out of Q trade, you slowly chip your opponent down until a potential kill angle will appear. And if they would dare to trade back, like this girl did, you have 2 abilities to disengage and space enough until your second Q rotation is up. And while her laning is obnoxious, her ult is gonna be the real killer, as I'll show you here. I'm gonna ult her, I'm gonna teleport right next to her, wait out her W, and then just finish off with a clean Q out of Q. And that is just how broken that champion is. So when the bunny does the fun and locks you inside of her, it's pretty hard to play safe. I have another clip I really want to show you. It's from the world champion Deft. He won Worlds 2022, if you remember. I'm gonna let it speak for itself. Yeah, that's a toughie. That's a toughie. I don't think he knew what that champion did. This is the item builds that are on your screen right now. If you want to go and try out in solo queue, I think you should. I think you should go in first time here. Like, honestly, who cares? Maybe your teammates does, but I don't. So I think that's enough for me, and I want to throw it back to you, Dracos. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Finn. I appreciate all of your funny bunny puns. I don't think Deft appreciated getting one shot, and I can't imagine many of our players will appreciate it getting one shot today. We'll see if Aurora is going to show up in Fnatic versus BDS, or if it'll stay banned throughout most of these matches. Of course, last time we saw these teams, it was disappointment for both, but for BDS, I think uncharacteristic underperformance.
Honestly, I had so high expectations of BDS coming into our summer playoffs, and the reason for that was just that they had looked so clean in regular season. Continuously throughout that regular season, they had improved. We had criticisms of BDS in the past that they were too stale, they weren't evolving, they needed more to get past teams like G2 and Fnatic, but it finally felt like they were at that point where they were going to do that. But then once we came playoffs, all their improvement just looked like they got washed away, and it felt like our expectations would never really lived up to.
Yeah, I want to draw you a picture, okay?
Nice.
GB is Talia jungle. He is Karthus jungle. He is whatever pick that they decide to hold on to, BDS.
Okay.
Despite it being nerfed countless times, they have a really hard time letting go. It's super painful.
You're BDS in this context.
And I'm BDS in this context.
And you're saying I'm nerfed?
My point is that they love to hold on to picks that they practiced, even though they might have been nerfed and they're just suboptimal, right? Their drafts have been a real issue. I think they draft compositions that are way too hard as well. My mind goes back to drafts including triple AD carry threats, as well as an AP jungler. And that's just so hard to teamfight with. When you compare it to drafts that, for example, G2 like to draft, where they can just draft 3 losing lanes, scale up, and win teamfights as well, it's super difficult. And because of their mid-game issues, I think they should veer away from this.
G2, of course, starting to feel like the common denominator for both BDS and Fnatic. And of course, Fnatic also do their fair share of criticism, but I think the entire community came down pretty quick after that 3-0 final. It was catastrophic, it was back and forth, but I think kind of in general, we've talked about it enough, and it's something that I think we need to get that perspective from the side of Fnatic. This is a team and organization who, you know, let's see what they have to say. Let's see if they can speak for themselves. But before we get over to our interview with Nightshare, Goldberg, final thoughts, anything on Fnatic that stood out to you immediately? You want that one thing to stick with people before we talk to Nightshare.
I mean, it's just that late game, right? It's the fact that they had such a perfect position to close out all the game that they were playing against G2, and I think, once again, expectations of what Fnatic could do were higher than what they delivered.
Certainly. Late game, the expectation here, and for most of our fans, I think it's safe to say, but Trouble is now sitting by with Nightshare in the Marriott Bonvoy pre-game lobby.
Thank you, Dracos. I'm here with Nightshare. Thank you for joining me. Now, I know people want to hear a lot about you and what's going on behind the scenes for Fnatic, but I just want to ask you, how have you been? How have your players been? And how have you been, you know, working around this past 2 weeks?
Well, obviously, it's tough, you know, to lose finals against G2 and lose them the way we lost. So obviously the first reaction is always like, how do you deal with these emotions? You know, like sadness, regret, anger. But I think we've proved many times before that we always, you know, kind of get down and we stand up again. And I honestly believe that we did pretty fine on coming off from such a disastrous lose. I think everyone is kind of where they were before it. So I think we're good, yeah.
I'm happy you mentioned the emotions. Fnatic is known to be one of our more emotional teams. They work on emotion and momentum. And of course, coming off of this 3-0 when it was so damn winnable, and also the backlash from the fans. I watched a couple of the videos you guys uploaded over on your channel. Talk to me about the new people that you brought into the team to try and help with all those emotions and situations that are happening after such a loss.
Well, the new guy kind of coming in was Jonathan, who is our new performance coach. And he's basically there for, in short, for emotional and social support of players. So it's kind of like his lead to take that away from coaches also, so we can focus more on the game itself.
Now, I want to ask you specifically for your Koreans, because it must be so difficult, you know, the cultural difference, the language difference. How do you guys facilitate for them coming off of such a weekend to make sure that they are ready for what's happening this weekend for you?
Well, we kind of always joke about it. I think the ongoing meme inside of the team is like Noah is fake Korean, so he's already, you know, like nationalized. I think he's somewhere between Spanish and Czech. And then, honestly, June is such a nice human being, you know. And then when he actually connects on the personal level, it's so nice to be around him. And I feel like even though they miss home, right, because Korea is just insane, I think they're pretty happy being around us and with us.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all the insights and best of luck today. Dracos, back to you.
Thank you so much, Trouble. Of course, a difficult thing to talk about, right, this loss, but I think all of our teams just hoping to reset however they got here. It is season finals. You get a fresh start. You can kind of forget all the problems previously. So with that in mind, we want to take a look at all 6 of our teams. We'll introduce them as we meet them. So first up, I'm going to start with BDS. Let's talk a little bit about what this team does well, what this team does right, maybe some of the weaker areas. We get to take a look at it behind us. What are you guys focusing on?
I mean, I really love the mid lane performance from Nuke throughout summer playoffs. While BDS as an entire team kind of fell down into a slum in playoffs, I think Nuke was one of the standout players that continuously just kept the team afloat, and I think his Lucian specifically was the best Lucian in the entirety of playoffs, even going up against Caps. We saw him again and again into the Corki matchup where his spacing and movement is just so clean in these matchups where it just feels like he has an edge when he's playing these AD mid laners, and it's so nice to see because he used to be known as just a control mage guy. Now suddenly he's also bringing this in, and I think it's really helping BDS to bring more depth into their playstyle.
Yeah, personally, I really like how they play for Dragons. I think even when BDS first started getting traction in the league, it was just this Dragon control that really like solidified them in the league. And I think, especially going up against a team like Fnatic, I think this is going to be crucial because Fnatic, as we saw against G2, really struggled around objectives. They kept getting caught out before, and they didn't really set it up properly. So I think this is really where BDS can have an edge over Fnatic.
Definitely something we have to keep our eyes on, right? That control on objective, especially mid to late game. It's been a question for a lot of teams. I think the other team that it's been a pretty big question for is Fnatic, but before we talk about the rough stuff, I want to start by talking about that 2v2 on the bottom side. It is looking pretty lethal.
Yeah, I mean, I think Fnatic often drafts for strong lanes and the fastest jungler in the game. Like, they like to pair Elioya up with Razork with a Zyra or Brand that clears very fast, and then they want to give the tools for the lanes to fight. This gives Razork a lot of options, and I think Noah and Jun has especially stepped up in this point because they keep generating these abnormal goal leads every single game. Now, can they finish on these goal leads? I think they'll figure it out because that's actually not that hard.
And I think that's a big part as well, because if we look at it isolated, Fnatic's early game was fantastic, and there's a lot of good takeaways to look at that. But also, thank you for that zoom in, because we can also see that even though you had those nice early games, it's even more demoralizing the fact that you then lost these games. And I think that's probably the question on everybody's minds coming into a Fnatic series like this. Can they close games if they get good leads? Because they've shown the individual talent, they've shown the early game teamwork, but they haven't been able to show how to close out these games in a situation where it mattered. And it's only going to matter from here on out. It's season's finals, it's your way towards reclaiming what you lost against G2, and it's your spot towards Worlds.
Yeah, but I also think the way they lose these games are very simple. They keep getting caught in moments they should not. Because when you actually have this massive of a lead, the game kind of plays itself. You just push, you get vision, you get towers. And the game just keeps rolling like this, and unless something abnormal happens, you usually win the game. So I think they can actually fix this if they just cut back a little bit on their ferociousness.
The problem is, and this is the interesting thing about Fnatic as a team, right, is that their individual players are such a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, it's the individuals finding 2v2 kills in lanes. Yes, the draft sets them up for it, but it's still those, star-studded performances early on, maybe with a little bit of mistakes from the opposite side. I don't want to just pretend like those didn't also happen. But then those same individuals in the late game struggling to bring it home. And it's tricky against a team like BDS, who, again, we talked about at the start of the day, uncharacteristically inconsistent. But if they go back to form, it's going to be a tough stylistic matchup for Fnatic to play against a team who is so consistent.
But that's just a question, right? I love the way that you opened the day as well, Drake, because it is who will rise in a world where every single team could probably beat each other on the day, because there is inconsistency. We can't run away from that. Some of the teams are having a little oopsie moments, but some of them are always also looking clean at times. If you look back at BDS' first game against G2 when they played them in summer playoffs, that was a huge stump and it looked like they were just on point. If that's the kind of BDS that shows up against Fnatic, they should be scared. On the other hand, it's the same for Fnatic, right? If they are the team that just fixes these, what you call easy mistakes, Finn, it should be playable, right?
And we'll see how easy it is. We only have a few moments left, gentlemen. Predictions, quick down the line. We'll start with you, Finn.
I think BDS takes it 3-1.
Wow, that.
So not Faith. Apparently not that simple of mistakes, Finn. You said simple. You made it sound easy.
Difficult when you say like
and you turned it around.
I just think BDS are so much more clutch in the mid game, and I don't think the goal leads that Fnatic got were normal. I said abnormal. This shouldn't happen. So if the game plays normal and BDS gets lead, I think they win.
I still think Fnatic should be considered favorites coming into this. I think from what they've shown historically, but also just their form this split, I still think you can have high expectation for them. I do. 3-1 Fnatic.
We'll have to see. One prediction on both sides. That's going to do us here. Let's get into it. The season finals for the LEC starts now.
This is gonna be the split that we are gonna take down G2 and bring the trophy home.
Caps comes in, Noah dashes across with the arcane shift across the wall, still has the flash, but with the corner of the fortress coming down, Noah has dived in again, and he is being put into the grave by G2. The only one trying to stand under the Nexus Towers, Humanoid sent back to the fountain.
Back to back to back to back to back to back.
The losses and the victories are all wiped clean.
Togma's going in with the quickness, but a Magnet Storm of Element flashes the wall and it's all done. The Nexus will fall shortly after that.
Irrelevant couldn't do it. Niski could not do it. Rahel couldn't do it.
Ice has to burn the flash to get over the wall. Jackie's with the culling, the arrow, the cleanse, not enough, shut down.
You fought with everything you had to get here, and Munich is in your sights.
Oh, that's a knockback. That's going to be big. And again, there's a killing spree coming through. Again, Caps has been caught out. Adam running forward. Finally, the knockback going to be there. The ulti there as well. Adam getting lower and lower. But Hansama already gone. Just walks up and kills him with the Quadra. Cassante, baby! Get the copy ready. Get the pasta ready. He's still in the game. Penta.
Humanoid, no flash, slicing mouse from going down. Humanoid already down to 10% HP. The culling finds its mark and the light slinger.
Fighting for glory, the trophy, and for the honor of representing EMEA at Worlds.
Ice still standing. He has to be the one to make a difference. The Super's already taken over. It's already a triple. They'll do the Quadra, maybe even the Penta. Ice wants to fire back. But here we go. Super Penta in game 1 of playoffs.
This is your curtain call. But here comes the curtain call, so the player's only going to land onto one. Not enough to keep Caps at bay. Humanoid down. Noah caught out. He manages to survive. But Harden's Summer sinks a bullet in his back.
The tournament to see who will be crowned LEC champions starts now.
You're damn right it does, Drake. Our season finals. Let's kick it off. Let's get on into the action. Fnatic taking on BDS for our first best of 5. Loser goes into the losers bracket. Winner continues on the upper side of our bracket, facing the winner of G2 and Mad Lions Koi tomorrow. You guys can talk as well, but you know I have a command.
I was enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
You're commanding the room.
You know?
We've got an exciting series ahead of us. I know many eyes are going to be on Fnatic after what was a disastrous finals. 3 games in a row where they were able to find early game leads and they could not convert them into victories. The pressure is going to be massive, especially when it felt like this really was their split to lose.
But they've had that time away. They've had that time to find themselves, bring it back to the main stage now in our season finals, and going up against BDS is definitely going to be a team that's going to test them. But I'm excited to see kind of what they brought out, and even coming on to the new patch, I still expect a lot of the similar things, except for maybe a little bit of cheeky Aurora. I'm looking forward to seeing if she manages to sneak her way through.
We've been seeing it pop up over in the LCK a huge
LPL
amount.
was played today as well.
Yeah, it's definitely an AD carry's new nightmare. Yeah.
Wait, they made the Jarvan bigger?
Yeah. And she can teleport. Yeah. So
it's the invisibility that gets me. Yeah. It's like it's it's like having a Twitch that can put a Jarvan on top of you, while also bouncing on top of you in that Jarvan.
Honestly, the thing that gets me, Goldberg and I were having a few 1v1s to get a feel for the champ. Play it out, give it a go. And the E is honestly one of the most obnoxious things about her. Like every time you try to approach her, she constantly is able to not only create space, but apply that massive slow. We'll see if we do get some Aurora in our first game of season finals as Varus and Leona. Along with the Ashe found away by Fnatic, Rel targeted towards Labrov makes a huge amount of sense. And things like Wild Rumble did get hit a little bit. Seems like it's still very prevalent in the meta.
Yeah, I will say we are only on 14.15. 16, I think, comes out next week. So we're going to be on this patch for the entirety of season finals. And although there were some small nerfs and changes here, although we did see, boots getting a bit more expensive, we saw some changes to Kraken Slayer, Dark Harvest. The meta is expected to stay predominantly the same. Aurora has made her way through picks and bans. Now, she can be played mid, she can be played top, and that is a misfortune instead of an Aurora, which makes me slightly sad.
We're still seeing a lot of people tend back towards things like the Tristana mid and still seeing a lot of those strength in the AD mids, but Aurora definitely has warped it a little bit. She loses out in the early trading to a lot of those AD carries in the mid lane, so won't get that push, but how obnoxious she is once you get to that mid to late game is kind of where she shines.
You know, my instinct is Fnatic deliberately left it open, expecting it to be locked in, and they had some sort of counter prepared, but now that it hasn't been secured, I wonder like what this says for the rest of the series, because clearly both teams are saying we don't prioritize the Aurora, and that's a pretty interesting development.
I do think she is a champion that requires follow-up, so when you have the misfortune, Aurora works well, so I wouldn't be fully surprised to see Aurora, maybe even Maokai, come through here. I think she definitely wants people that can abuse the fact that she has locked multiple members, if not the AD carry, into this prison, and essentially unload with the bullet time, everything over the top, and just try and make everything comfortable.
And that's why something like Ezreal is a little bit safer against her, because he can just dash out of, well, blink technically out of her ultimate, making it less likely for Team BDS to lock in the menace in the top lane here. Corki and MF, the first two picks for Team BDS, no big surprises there. Jungle usually what we'd see in this spot, with the Vi already being locked in for Fnatic and Noah's Ezreal, and if you hark back about 3 weeks' time, you're either having pleasant dreams or bad nightmares about that Ezreal, depending on which side of the finals you were on.
There we go. I was going to say, we are seeing a bit of a shift in the AP junglers, though, because Zyra got hit, Brand got hit, so we've seen kind of Lilia rise up. Also, the Morgana was something that Sheo had already played back in summer playoffs, so excited to see him bring it out again. It's been a well, I say classic. It started to rise up as an answer to the Vi, where you just black shield whoever Vi is going on and just make it miserable for them.
Almost an old school counter, one could say, but we've seen this from Sheo before, and it's worked to pretty good effect, as we'll see how Fnatic ran out the draft. Okay, the blind Kennen being secured. You would imagine this is going to go in the top side of the map for Oscar, and now they have the ability to ban away some of the potential counters and obnoxious picks that can go into the Kennen.
And now we get to play the game, does Labrov take exhaust? Because you kind of need it against the Kennen.
You can actually play Cassante exhaust TP into the Kennen as well, and then Labrov can go for something like the Ignite if he wants to be a little bit more aggressive in the bot lane. I saw that in, I want to say it was in the LCK yesterday, so something we have seen. I can't remember exactly which team did it, but it really negates that Kennen's pressure. Any exhaust, obviously very powerful. The Kennen is good into the Morgana here because she can only black shield one person, and the Slicing Mushroom will eat through that black shield and allow the Vi to pick another target or pick the same target in the middle of a team fight.
And I mean, Adam's been pretty good at Cassante. He only got a pentakill, you know, a couple of weeks ago. So did lose the game, but got a pentakill, you know. So definitely excited to see if he's going to bring that one out. I think another top lane ban anyway here for Fnatic makes a lot of sense, and could even go towards something that's a bit more like carry orientated. Like Jace is always a good answer, but already something Adam goes for.
I apologize for interrupting you. It was just my instinct is sitting here thinking like Garen, Darius, Volibear, these type of champions that Adam is more well known for. I mean, the Renekton surprises me a little bit because Kennen has used the counter, but clearly they just want to take Adam off of some of his comfort. We haven't really seen any of the Gods champions that Adam was so famous for last year, but if he were to bring it out, this would be the type of game where we'd usually see it. The Yone, I believe it was 14-15 where he received some buffs, and we've been seeing it pretty much all across the world as a high priority pick, especially into Corki. It's always been considered a relatively safe matchup, one that gives him free scaling, a very effective side lane later on into the game.
And great dive as well for the likes of the Vi and the Kennen who all just want to go in. So a bit of a wombo combo kind of been set up for Fnatic where you all just unload onto BDS. And yes, that, as you were already alluding to, Medic, that black shield is there, but it can't save everyone.
And enough magic damage coming out from Fnatic to eat through that black shield as well, especially on the Morgana jungle where you want I think you want a couple of levels in your W early on to really clear through those jungle camps. Alistair locked in for BDS, so a bit of wombo, a bit of combo from them as well. There's the Cassante that we were talking about earlier. So BDS's composition, nothing too surprising. The Morgana is an AP jungler, and the Braum locked into the Morgana does make sense alongside being able to negate some of the damage coming out from the Corki rockets. One team has a hell of a lot of engage, whereas the other team has a bit of zone in team fights. The Alistair really the only engage for Team BDS, alongside, I guess, the Cassante, who can isolate one member.
I feel like Fnatic's comp is a bit of a shotgun comp, you know? Well, like, ideally, they want to be the team that initiates first. As you rightly said, there's a huge amount of dive on their composition. This Misfortune is not going to be happy. Even with a Black Shield on top of her, there's just so much potential lockdown with the Kennen, the Vi, and the Yone. Braum, Ezreal as a combo specifically allows Ezreal to be very self-sufficient, both providing potential peel for the Ezreal, but also just both of them being able to land that Q onto a target makes single target pick very threatening. With the fact that Fnatic also have a lot of side lane threat is something that I think gives Fnatic options, but I do think that in the extended fight, BDS have tools. They've got decent range with both MF and they've got the Corki. Cassante in the extended fight is also going to offer a huge amount of value depending on which target he can remove in a fight. Imagine if he pulls out the Yone, pulls out the Vi, pulls out the Kennen. There's options in terms of making things difficult for Fnatic to really execute upon their comp.
Yeah, and that's why I really do think a lot of this is going to be on Adam and Labrov to try and play that peel factor. If they can keep Kennen out of the picture, if they can keep the Yone out of the picture, they have a better chance of the fight. But I do agree with you, Freddy. Like, even Ice trying to set up in these fights is going to be so tough. Like, you have to be so careful about how you approach things because there's just so much that can disrupt you from trying to unload with the ultimate.
Well, Medic, your prediction was correct.
Freddy, you've said it before it comes up on the screen. So now
I haven't told them what prediction
yet. Yeah, but I only made one prediction. You know, I predict a riot.
Yeah.
Let's get on. That's probably too old, that song, for most of our viewers out there. Let's get on into the first game of the season finals. A banger, to be sure. I'm sure of it. All time between Fnatic and BDS, 11-9 in Fnatic's favor. Series score is 2-0 to Fnatic. Remember, only back in spring, where Fnatic reverse swept BDS to make it to those spring finals, to be defeated by G2, as most teams are in the LEC. But as you say, Vedi, my prediction was correct. Cassante going the exhaust and the teleport in the top lane, which we still can't see because our runes are on display right now, which is great. I'm very thankful the runes were there. And now I can finish the point. There's the exhaust.
But it's double exhaust. Labrov also running it as well.
I mean, you can chuck it on the Yone as well as he jumps in.
I can tell you right now, like, I don't know the number of times in solo queue where people just both put exhaust on the cannon. Like, right idea. Yeah. Just, you know, not optimization. But, you know, well, I'm sure pros will be more coordinated. Anyway, when we think about early priority, it's always very important when we look at the pro play scale. Oscarinin is going to have that small advantage in the early game, going to drop an early ward to get some information as to where Sheo is starting. He's going to likely expect him to be starting on the bot side of the map. You expect Fnatic to also get this push on the bot side, while Nuke should be able to have some control over mid. What this means for Razork is potentially early dives towards the bot side of the map. Braum Ezreal has a lot of potential poke and setup, and with the fact that Sheo is starting on the bot side of the map, likely means he's pathing away from his bot side, which means that could be an early game plan for Fnatic.
Yeah, and I like Razork starting on the top side because you are going to have that push. It just makes it easier to secure your own camps. Maybe an opportunity to try and look, as you say, for something on the bottom side, but I don't think there's a huge amount here for that to try and look for, especially against an Alistar with exhaust in these early stages. I think it's a little worrisome to try and go for a dive.
Yeah, with Ice having the cleanse as well, even if you catch him with one bit of CC, cleanse flash away makes it very tricky for you to actually execute that dive appropriately. As always, Alistar, a moot point at level 1.
He did not.
Because he only has the pulverize, can't really do too much more in that lane. Has now crested over to level 2, but the wave's already shoved in. Oscar trading with Adam on the top side, and it's what you talked about, Vedi. Expected that the ranged into the melee, even though Cassante is many things. Unfortunately for him, he hasn't been able to put boomerangs on his and Tofos, so can't yeet them out at the Kennen from range.
Now Sheo is going to be spotted out on this ward. He's just going to continue to do his full clear though, as Razork looks to do the same on the opposite side of the map. Humanoid expected to get bullied in this 1v1, doing what he can, but he has the draw and shield. He also has his pot still available, so he's going to be more than comfortable in this lane for the time being. It's this bot lane for BDS that you really have to keep your eyes on in the early laning phase. As Sheo sets his sights on the top lane.
Oh, I like it. Skip the blue, go to top. Maybe a little Yordle, your prize. They get the slow exhaust down first. Oscarinin holding the flash for now, lands the stun. The dark binding from Sheo. Oscar's continuing to hold. He tries to flash. Oh, just enough time to sidestep it.
Oh, Sheo tried to predict that, held it for so long, even tried to bait it out that flash with the auto attack initially, but Oscarinin holds onto it, just barely able to escape, so nicely done. But it is going to be the flash burn for Oscarinin and giving that opportunity for Adam to at least get the wave pushed out for himself and get a reset in as well.
Just great manipulation of the wave there from Adam. It was a very awkward wave state for Oscar. Obviously, Kennen, not the fastest at pushing in these waves early levels. He really likes to just chip away at your HP, use that 5th auto passive to be able to proc the W and just kind of use that way to gain advantages in lane. But burning his flash is going to alleviate a lot of pressure. Now, you could argue both top laners don't have flash, right? Evening up the playing field a little bit more as Adam did use that exhaust. Humanoid has found a comfortable spot for his mid lane, as Nuke is also forced to use the TP as well.
Ice has gone for an early reset in this bottom side, so just using the strut and the early booch bursts to get back, but now mid, Humanoid goes for trade, but this will give an opportunity for them to push out this bot wave and maybe open up Labrov to make some sort of play, especially with Humanoid being as low as he is in the mid lane. I'm curious if they try and make something happen towards that mid lane as this wave bot side crashes.
Nice pings from BDS coming out onto Razork. You'll notice that Sheo, because he delayed his base, he's pinging, oh, my pot camps have already respawned. We haven't seen Razork on the map, which means that he's likely already back on his reclear. And he was exactly right, the pings were on the mark. He's going to be back towards his top grubs. He's going to be working through his second rotation of the jungle. And it does mean that Sheo will be a little bit behind, but fortunately Morgana, especially the more levels you get, will increase that clear speed. Should be able to catch up no problem.
Both the supports around the mid lane right now. Labrov actually yet to take a recall. You can see Boots and a control ward for Jun. He opened back up through mid. Have some stats for you in terms of how often these players have played these champs. It's the first time we've seen Humanoid on Yone in a competitive game. It's a bit surprising to me.
Surprise me, yeah.
I'll be honest, but it's cracking out something new here for the season finals. Oscar is 5-1 all time on the Kennen, but has only played one of those games in the LEC, which he did win. So 100% win rate on the LEC stage. We'll see if Fnatic can continue that today.
I've been keeping my eye on what Labrov has been up to, because I thought there might have been a window where you try and push out bot wave a bit more heavily. You could go play mid, you can go for contestants, bot side camps, but with Sheo moving up towards his top side, I think Labrov just kind of missed his window to reset, as you were already calling out there, Medic, and look for a bit of the boots and stuff like that. So at least having that control on the bottom side now will give Razork the opportunity to go for Dragon, and looks like Sheo would just try and trade it for the early void groups.
Credit to the BDS bot lane. I think this bot lane matchup can be challenging in the early levels, but they've been able to navigate perfectly. When we think back to Ice as a player, even though there were a few fumbles from him, when we think back to the summer split, ultimately he was incredibly consistent. Really the mainstay of BDS, kind of the one true carry of the team where I felt like we could always rely on him to have those strong performances. And again, while there were those few blunders overall, when we think about his year, he's been an incredible acquisition for BDS.
Agree with you there, buddy. Noah, on the other hand, had some of those more obvious fumbles in the final versus G2, as we see Sheo setting up around the mid lane. Razork's down towards the bottom side. Labrov gets the knockback onto Jun. There is the cleanse out of Ice, but the flash from Razork will be enough. Ice falls. Fnatic get first blood. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Adam is going all out. Pop the exhaust, but can't get under the tower to chase down Oscar in it.
Yeah, I want to have a look at that replay again, because I don't know if Labrov wanted to get the double pulverize on Noah and Jun and then flash to try and block Razork, or if he was trying to predict that Razork was going to flash and then flash pulverize. But just unfortunate there, couldn't quite cover all the bases. Good gank from Razork to get in onto the bottom side.
Talked about how bot lane could be an option, and it's largely because of the setup from the Brawn. They get the passive applied, cleanses through it, but the slow was enough to allow for Razork to arrive and set up a really nice Q flash to connect that CC and ultimately find that kill onto Ice.
I think Labrov might have been trying to predict that Razork was going to flash in on top of Ice and then try to get the Q flash to interrupt the knockup, and then you should have been able to get out. But just unfortunate, it means that he doesn't end up hitting Noah Jun, doesn't quite get Razork as he goes in. That means that Razork's able to get the kill.
Razork looking up towards the top side here. The wave not in the best of spots for Adam, as Oscar and can just thin it out. Adam does have the TP though, so it looks like he's just going to retreat to the safety of his tower and teleport back in.
Well, a relatively quiet early game from both teams. There were always going to be questions around how these teams looked coming into the season finals. Both ended up falling short to G2, even though they consistently found those early game leads. But they weren't always able to convert them into victories. So we'll see how these teams have been able to adapt, evolve, rectify some of the mistakes from Summer. Now, with Worlds on the line, a lot of these teams for them to play for.
Huge amount for both these teams to play for, and Something we did see a lot in the finals was Razork's impact on the map in the early game. The battle between him and Sheo today is going to be really important. You can see Razork here falling behind in gold difference, but had a high kills and assists at the 14-minute mark, has already been on the map here, getting that first blood in the bottom lane.
Crucially though, look at his counter jungle percentage. He spends a lot of his advantages trying to get into the enemy jungle, but this game he's all about the ganks.
Looking down towards the bottom lane, goes in with the assault and battery. Lebrov with a knock-up, tries to get Noah out of the situation, and the Unbreakable falls off, and Ice opens up the big guns. Beautiful counter gank from Sheo as they look for more. Jun's gonna fall, a double for BDS.
Great timing from Sheo. Razork thought he had that moment where he could go in with the ult, but Sheo goes, nope. Black shield, you don't get to play on Ice, and Ice gets to wander back, build some space, and immediately turn it around with the ultimate.
The Morgana just offered so much value there, and great patience from Ice. Gets into position to land the bullet time, and is able to do so much work off the back of it. The ultimate comes through, there's the black shield, then you have Lebrov getting the two-man knock-up as well.
It's the Unbreakable being used earlier as well that doesn't eat up the bullet time.
Exactly, and so then Chun ends up falling, and it's a double kill for Ice.
Sorry, Benny, I did the thing that you always talk about color casters doing there, which is the, if I don't say this point, no one's gonna, you are 100% gonna say that point.
Yes,
I
was just waiting for the replay to come up.
Did you know he used the Unbreakable earlier there with Trinity
Oh, LeBron looking for a play here around mid lane as well as Jun is caught out, but it's great for BDS to get Ice ahead like this because as you said earlier, Benny, he's so consistently the carry for this team as the game goes on. We saw him and Nuke popping off a few times together, but so often if you put Ice in a position where he can carry, he will be able to take BDS across the finish line.
And I think it's been a little bit of a different look for BDS in the way that they've set Ice up. When you look at summer regular season, it was, hey, we're going to rotate him around the map, use these early pushing lanes to get gold onto him, get plates onto him, and look to carry through that. But it has been more going back towards skirmishes and trying to play around the spot side, in particular in this game, where BDS have been able to get Ice those leads. And now they're using it to pick up that second round of Void Grubs. So 6 Void Grubs now for the potential for a nuke in a side lane, or for even Ice, if you can push Noah back, is going to be pretty clutch for BDS.
So 10 minutes into the game, gold basically even between these two teams. We have the 6 grubs for a Drake trade so far, next dragon up in 20 seconds time. If we're looking at this, say you came into the game, you drafted this comp, who would be happier in this situation? Which coach backstage is licking their lips with delight?
So I think it's actually a bit of a weird one because I think it's going to revolve around how this play for BDS works out. Because you can see now they're not rotating down to try and contest Dragon. They're actually going to use the 6 Void Grubs to push in on towards top and get more gold on towards Ice. So if they can successfully make a play on towards top side, maybe even dive Oscar in here, I think you're very happy as BDS. But if Oscar is able to defend this top side and then you get Dragon, I think that's where Fnatic are going to be much more pleased.
I guess my opinion is more swayed on how good is Humanoid on Yone.
We don't know.
Because, like, it's one of those things where, like, okay, the scaling one is a bit weird because you could argue, like, MF scaling is very dependent on, like, how much can she utilize her ultimate in the late game? Like, does she get the freedom? She's a relatively low mobility since she doesn't have dashes. This is a dive.
Looking for it. Wall breaker in, exhausted immediately. Razork takes up the tower. Jun actually the one doing it now. Adam gets the knockback with the Pathmaker. Q3 will knock Razork back in. Cease and desist all out, blocks it. But no one's taking the tower right now, and Adam's down to half HP. Another Vault Breaker going in, another Pathmaker to try and stop it. Razork tanks the tower, has to flash away. Jun does the same. Adam does not live to fight another day. A kill for Fnatic on the bot side.
I mean, honestly, that was incredibly well played from both sides. Adam did about everything right that he could have done, and he gets 2 flashes out of it and the ignite from Jun, but Fnatic still find the kill. Considering all of the tools that K'Sante has in his kit, they were able to navigate their way through Adam doing everything correct, and they still don't lose any members.
The thing is, though, on the top side, BDS get all those turret plates and that first turret gold into Ice. Oscarinin got zoned away from the turret as well because Sheo was there. So I think you kind of come out a little bit ahead as BDS just because of the massive gold lead you can see on towards Ice at the moment.
I would argue that Fnatic are setting themselves up nicely for the Dragon win condition. And we think about their composition, it does have that shotgun effect, right? Vi ultimate, Kennen ultimate, Yone ultimate, you can very quickly get on top of your carry of choice and try to shut them down as quickly as possible to create that numbers advantage and then look for the extended fight. And by leveraging the dragons, it's easier for you to force those fights. So the third and fourth dragon are going to be big points of contention, with which right now Fnatic's priority is to get as many items as possible. And BDS, in the meantime, are looking to control more of the map. If you just look at the vision, they've done a great job of setting up on the top side after securing that top tower, and now they have their eyes on mid.
And that's why I think what BDS need to do is leverage the fact they've taken that top lane tower. Push out with Nuke, move Labrov as you get shove in mid to cover that play on top side. You get Rift Herald, you take down mid turret, and you make it nigh on impossible then for Fnatic to really contest that third dragon because of your position on the map. So I definitely think both sides, as you know, Vedi has already set out how Fnatic win. You can see a BDS do the same. Like, this game is still all to play for. It comes into how you execute over the next 4 minutes until that dragon comes up.
My instinct for BDS is that they just ultimately want to survive, right? Like, as long as you survive that initial cannon burst, if Cassante can remove him from the fight, a good place to exhaust. Like, my instinct says in the extended fight, Fnatic or BDS have a big advantage, but I want to see how the fights play out, because there are ultimately a lot of variables, a lot of individuality that can change the outcome of the fight. As Humanoids demonstrating some of that now on the Yone.
LeBrov's trying to cover Adam here, but Adam, even with the all-out, I'm not sure he survives this. Glacial Fisher going down, TP in, LeBrov joins the party, knock up with the cease and desist, and Jun tags the tower for just long enough for Fnatic to juggle the aggro. Bolt Breaker back in by Razork. The Pulverize look pretty, but it's not much enough for LeBrov. 2 kills to Fnatic.
In the top side, though, you still have that 6 Void Growth buff, and Nuke is going to move up here with Shale. I don't think you needed to use the Rift Herald here. You should be able to get a good amount of damage down just off of those 2 buffs alone.
I think they were worried about how behind they were on the play because the bot tower had already fallen, the resets coming through. You can see now Fnatic returning to the top lane. They didn't want to overextend. So I understand the play, makes sense. They do at the very least get 2 towers.
I think it plays into what you were talking about, Vedi, though, which is Fnatic want to find these fights, right? And I think the way that BDS try to set themselves up successfully is taking towers, pushing Fnatic back so they can play this block push as well. But now Fnatic get the kill, they're going to get this bot lane turret, and they're not really in a position where they ever have to ditch that mid lane turret. They can always fight for Dragon, and I think that's going to hurt BDS.
The flash in here from Labrov. The idea is good because he's trying to chain CC Jun, but he ends up going into the ultimate from Humanoid. Notice as well the tower gets prioritized from Oscar, so even though it's a 4-man knocker from Labrov, he may have been able to trade one back, but because the tower falls, it ends up being a clean 2-0 for Fnatic. Crucially, Humanoid got one of those kills, and look at this Kennen now, a 1.1k gold lead. Some of that off the back of the tower falling, but mainly because Adam has died twice now, losing a decent amount of farm. This Kennen is going to become a huge threat, and we think about it, right? Remember, while they were conceding some of the towers on the top side of the map, they were conceding the Herald. 2 dragons, third one spawning in a minute and a half. You look across those items, Kennen in a good spot, Vi in a good spot. Like, this is going to be a big pivotal swing point for BDS about how they handle. Maybe they just abandon it. Maybe they concede the third dragon and instead look to try and trade for mid tower or something. We'll see.
And that's why I think, like, even having that bot lane tower down is fantastic for Fnatic, because it opens up Oscar into push in bot, disappear into BDS's bot side jungle as that third dragon spawns, look for flank angles. It's going to be a little bit difficult now for BDS to try and play out for this third Drake, and as long as Fnatic are able to play the team fight out cleanly, I think they're in a good spot.
Minute left on the Drain currently, all vision placed on the top side of the map. Basically 2 wards on the entire bottom half of Summoner's Rift right now. BDS looked like Ice was going to path towards top there, decides against it. Sheriff spotted on a ward, recall coming out from Razzle, because now he can make a beeline for the bot side for that Drake, for the mountain. Soul point. Humanoid here. Needs his respects. Obviously, the saw Shale walking across the ward that Labrov is now walking across, so they know exactly where BDS are on the map right now, and neither team really setting up for the Drake early on.
Fnatic want to contest some of these waves. Humanoid setting his sights on catching that top wave. Resets coming through as the last bits of gold is looking to be spent. Control wards are plenty on the side of BDS. They make their way back out onto the map. Bot wave been pushed in by Oscar, but it should be BDS that has access to this river.
Because they pulled Fnatic to the top side by walking over vision, I guess. Like, I don't think it was their idea, but it's what happened. They are actually first to move on the mid lane.
I think Fnatic were worried because they don't have either TP, that BDS would overforce with double TP on top, try and pick off Humanoid, then TP down to the Dragon, and that's why Fnatic wanted to cover Humanoid now to move in, but it means they've lost a little bit of positioning, but they're still fine. They're able to force BDS out. Oscar Ridden's still in a great spot. You have no vision now of the electric grass, and he can pop off here.
Small advantage for BDS is that the Corki's able to push them an extra wave in bot. They do have that avenue. He's now going to look to regroup with the team. Fnatic trying to contest this wave, but it's BDS that get the first push. They have control over the river. And this is where Morgana becomes very scary, because face-checking a Morgana is always going to be a terrifying thing to do. If you get binded, we all know you can graduate from university before that binding ends up running out.
Merc Tread's only on Jun as well. Was changed slightly on this patch, a little bit more expensive, but still a very powerful pickup when you want to avoid some of that crowd control. Humanoid dashing in, unbinds his soul, but takes a chunk for it, down to half HP. The wave push for BDS in the mid lane, their priority. Now they've started up the Drake. Oscar in and on a flank, has control ward cover, but now spotted on that far sight alteration.
The double exhaust are still up though, so Oscar in going to be difficult for him to really make something, so I think Fnatic are just going to call it. I think they should just move immediately up towards this top side, see if they can threaten that top tier 1, but yeah, just BDS able to bully them out of river with that bot push.
Ultimately, Fnatic acting as spectators there. Oscar now finds himself in danger as he's going to get collapsed on.
Fnatic are about absolute cinema, but that was a spectator sport. The slicing maelstrom coming out, and Oscar's locked up with a dark binding. He tried to take the long way around, but the only place he's going is home to the fountain. BDS catch out the rats.
And it's worrying how that fight played out, because Fnatic, they want to try and force the fight in that situation, but BDS, they played very calm, very controlled. They got the push in the bot wave, they had Nuke regroup, they then leveraged the poke from both the Corki and the Morgana, throwing out rockets, throwing out bindings, and then they basically managed to find a nice chunk on a Humanoid, and then Fnatic felt like they were too low, and they also tracked the Kennen as well. So just really good patient play. They never gave Fnatic the fight, they secured the objective, and now they just have more time to scare.
Felt a bit like an opportunity cost issue for Fnatic. They were like, we've invested a lot of time in mid lane, we've invested control wards down towards the bottom side, we should fight around this dragon. We invested in getting the first 2, but as soon as you say Humanoid's chunked out, they couldn't make up their minds to just back away. If they'd all gone up towards top side, maybe they take the tower. If they'd all pressured towards the blue side jungle, maybe they get some more vision and can get catches in the future. But the opportunity cost felt too great in the moment, and in the end, Oscar Winning pays for it with his life.
I mean, the truth is, we are seeing some of the weaknesses that we did still see from Fnatic. Their mid-game is a big point of question. Their ability to play the mid-game macro, their lane assignments. Like, you were questioning, why are they pathing up towards top side? Dagda provided a solution, but like, was it really as simple as we just have to show up on top side for you to overcommit your resources and then concede all control on the bot side? They didn't find an easy avenue into the fight of the dragon. And again, like, how do they get around the double exhaust problem? You know, like, it's still the fact that Adam and Lebrov are primed at the ready, waiting for that Oscar in flash, and either one of them can drop it, and if they use it on a Yone earlier, that's fine, because the other one has it too. So I think this game is only going to get harder for Fnatic as the games continue, and Ice now with the Infinity Edge completed as well.
Yeah, and especially with the Mountain Dragon being this, you're going to get so tanky on BDS that this shotgun wombo combo style just isn't going to cut it. So I think the way that Fnatic need to try and play it out is Humanoid pushing in on side. I'd like to see him try and go for this push on bot side and then immediately start to move in. If I can work this, like, push in here, start to drift across as you get the push in mid, and you can try and take out that mid lane turret, but it's going to be kind of tough at the moment just because you don't really get that push on mid particularly easily. They're trying to play off of, hey, if we can get Oscar in and push, then we can group on mid here, but it's not quite working out, although it looks like BDS may have fumbled a little bit and giving Humanoid some time in this bot lane tower.
A couple of players showing on the top side means that Humanoid knew he could push up a little bit further. Does have ward cover as well. You can see one by the Razor Beaks and one just next to where he is right now, covering most of the avenues by which someone could walk behind him.
Thing is, even if they collapse on Humanoid, what does Fnatic then do? Rush Baron?
Probably.
Like, Kennen, Ezreal, Vi? Do you think that's gonna...
It's the Braum dip already. That Braum, he's punching that Baron.
I mean, sure. But like, all you need is Morgana to literally just be around.
Yeah,
and
press
be like,
W on
hey,
you. Like,
you really want to start that Baron? So, like, I agree with you, Dagda. My instinct would be to, like, let's send Yone to side. They probably won't have anyone to match. Cassante might be able to hold, but Yone will reach a certain point where he can just kill the Cassante and it'll be fine. But, again, like, I feel like Fnatic's win conditions and control of the map is just slowly slipping away, and they really need to find a fight soon.
I've heard that story before, Betty. And they didn't have a sizable lead as they did against G2 here. About 800 gold in it right now. Humanoid is at 2 items. Has the Immortal Shield Bow and the Blade of the Ruin King. He will eat through anyone that stands in his way. Adam still has the exhaust. 6 scrubs allow some mites to spawn here. Power down to half HP. BDS continue to invest their time in taking the turret, and it will fall.
You're seeing some of the zone control they have. So the MF Rainfall, I forget what it's called.
Make it rain.
Make it rain. That's the one I was looking for. And then with the Morgana, both Q and the pool,
Dark
it's
binding.
Yeah, okay.
Tormented
I
Soil.
call that QW, okay?
Oh, that's valid.
The
That's
Morgana
valid.
QW along with the MFE basically just act as very like minor zoning tools around an objective, and you saw how easily they can take a tower like this. So now with the mid control opened up, it makes invading into the enemy jungle that much easier. Casante's just continuing to passively farm on the bot side of the map. We're setting up now. Resets coming through from BDS. And this is the one thing I will praise them for that we criticized them for in playoffs. Macro is something that I think that they always demonstrated well in the LEC. They had a really good understanding of how to play the early mid game, and they have a great awareness of, okay, we need to reset, spend our gold, get ready for the next dragon.
And that's why, like, BDS are kind of making the plays that we're talking about Fnatic should probably be making, and they're in a great spot now. They get the resets first, as long as the Brav doesn't get caught out. But Jun didn't get that reset off. So you're looking at very few control wars for Fnatic as they try and set up in the pit. Vision going to be lacking if BDS control this mid push, which they do with the Misfortune, and then can move in and force Fnatic away off of this river portion.
Interesting little bit of support itemization. Labov yet to finish his Warmong's armor. Went for the Swifty boots completion early. 24 minutes of the game is quite late for you to get there. Obviously it was changed on 14-15, I want to say, where you need that little bit of extra HP to fully activate it. Labov goes in, Dark-Binding landing as well. There's the Unbreakable, burnt early by Jun, but means he doesn't eat too much of his health bar. Adam still looking for Oscar, stunned up. Humanoid looking for a flank, but he's on a ward, and Nuke can open up on him if he steps any further. The rest of BDS starting to look for the collapse. The Drake has been begun. Fnatic on it first. Will be their third of the game.
Fnatic need to force this because Ice can get on towards mid-wave, so they're feeling the pressure to start this fight. And Adam,
Unbreakable used again by Jun. Razzle jumping in though. Pathmaker out the slicing Maelstrom. There's the shotgun we were looking for, and they absolutely delete BDS off the face of the map.
A massive team fight for Fnatic. 4 members dead on the side of BDS, and Razork to set that whole thing up with a great engage. Fnatic have been looking so desperately to find that fight, and they finally found it.
beautiful stuff from Fnatic, and that might have just sealed the game for them right there, though Nuke gets on towards Humanoid.
Launches away from the Phosphorus bomb. Still trading in. Humanoid looking for a little bit more. The Baron that will be taken by Fnatic. They got their third Drake as well. They're on Soul Point now for that mountain. The Baron secured 25 minutes in, the game truly in their control.
Yeah, and you can see BDS are trying to cover way too many angles here. They've got Humanoid coming down, so Nuke wants to cover that, but the engage is beautiful. Immediate ult from both Kennen and Vi, and then Humanoid coming over the side. It was so well coordinated by Fnatic.
And you see the difference when it's Fnatic that's first on the objective and it's BDS that's forced to walk in. They're the ones that kind of open themselves up to that engage. Nuke being isolated on the side, but you saw how incredible that wombo combo was. The Ezreal ultimate and the Kennen ultimate doing so much work. Razork with a really nice setup. Just a great execution from Fnatic.
And I like Fnatic saying, hey, look, we have to start this, because there was always an angle where BDS collect mid-wave and try and push it in, draw Fnatic out, but they force BDS's hand by starting that objective, and BDS have to walk in, so really well done by Fnatic, and a big step up from what we'd seen previously.
So now Fnatic get to leverage their split pusher much more effectively with the Baron. This Yone can be a massive threat on a side. You have the Baron empowered minions too to help siege. Oscar going to chip down this tower at long last. He's not going to overstay his welcome though. Should be able to get that local gold. And Fnatic now looking to try and play through all three lanes. Ooh. Get a bit of a freeze frame. Noah can slowly push in mid, but just look at the map setup right now. All across the map, Fnatic are looking to push. BDS likely concerned to spread their resources too thin. Double TP still available on the side of Fnatic. They're in a very healthy spot.
And the downside for BDS composition is that they don't really have much non-committal engage. If they go in, they are in, and there's no real coming back out. So when you're trying to defend these turrets, it becomes very difficult because you're losing on the side lane push. You're not able to control the midway push because the Baron, and as Vetty was saying, you just don't have the resources you need to cover everything.
Fnatic have already got 4,000 gold off this Baron power play. They are 6,000 gold in the lead. The next Drake, 2.5 minutes away, will be sold for them if they can secure it. Everyone on 2 items as well, apart from Noah, who's crested over to 3. He's stolen one from Jun, it seems, who's only got the locket so far.
Humanoid just went back, just straight up bought an LDR too.
Well,
yeah.
3 all over the map.
Yep, he is a wealthy mid laner. Now they set their sights on the final ladder tower. Fnatic taking it calm and calculated. Oh, LeBron.
Looking for something here. TP is coming in as Adam dodged away with the Pathmaker. Nuke's TP finishes first, Oscar's second, but the tower's still fallen. The Fnatic now get their 4th of the game. They're looking for 5 here as Oscar can step up. The Baron empowerment lasts for the next 20 seconds or so. Oscar can always lightning rush away here as well. He'll do exactly that. The tower still stands just as Humanoid might be collapsed on here. It does still have the flash and the fate sealed, so should be able to dash out of this one. Does exactly that.
But Fnatic still got what they wanted. They created pressure in mid. Nuke has the flash. How far does he want to go for this?
He doesn't win this.
Nuke flash forward. Humanoid flashed over him. Oh, his feet are broken. His ankles shattered by Humanoid.
The Yone at this point in the game, the W gives so much of a shield. He overestimated his damage. And Nuke desperately trying to find something for his team as he can feel the game slipping away. But it's Humanoid that finds the solo kill.
And BDS just didn't know how to defend. Fnatic were pushing in mid, they were pushing in top, and they just didn't know where they were going to go. And Fnatic punished so well, they get that top tower. Humanoid outplays Nuke on this as well. It was so well done.
I mean, look at the value of the W here. Oh, such a big heal, the shield as well, and then the flash to avoid the R. Well played.
Yeah, I think it was a combination of the Immortal Shield Bow and the W
I
there.
thought that was already procced.
It might have already been procced. Sometimes the spectator overlay can lie to us, but huge shield anyway. And he's 3 levels up, right? Like, it's going to help you a little bit in those sorts of situations.
Very true. Now the final, I say the final Dragon, because I'm assuming Fnatic is going to get it given the gold lead that they have. But let's see, because ultimately it comes back to what we said before, right? Fnatic got a great team fight earlier, and that's exactly how they want to show how their composition works. But if they don't find those kind of engages, how does the extended fight then look? You'd imagine with a gold lead like this, it should still go the way of Fnatic. But let's see as we get closer and closer to the 5th Dragon of the game.
Especially with the amount of control that they have right now, there's very little room for BDS to get vision into River or even close to the Dragon Pit, which lets Oscar in and hide out of vision, lets them set up for a Humanoid over the wall. You can see him just kind of proccing the Qs here, looking for a potential invade as Adam goes.
Still clearing out the mid lane now. The half HP, they engage. LeBob goes in onto Oscar winning. The knockback on the back line as Razzle goes unstoppable. Fate Seal goes wide. And even with the exhaust, Humanoid should be able to take down Adam. Already Razzle's fallen. Adam's done the same. Noah trading in with LeBrob, Oscar and Jun are so low. But BDS only have 3 players left to try and fight this one out. Humanoid on the front line. Ice flashes away. Humanoid dies. Noah dives in. Noah takes 2. Some redemption for Noah on the Ezreal as he manages to get a double on the backside. Sheo still half HP though. Noah trying to heal up with his Bloodthirster. Should be able to do so. Sheo. Oh, the dragon!
Oh, Guardian! Guardian!
Oh my god, the dragon! No,
the Unbreakable!
The Unbreakable is enough for now. Jun tanks it. True Shot Barrage comes out. Noah hits 1. Dark Binding in again as Noah steps forward. He misses the Mystic Shot. The Drake taken by BDS, but Fnatic definitely won the fight.
So the soul was denied, but what a chaotic back and forth. You can see how much damage BDS is capable of doing. The engage doesn't quite go the way Fnatic wanted.
No, he saw Humanoid come in here, and as he comes in with the E, he's able to get in, get the damage down, but he has to hop back, so BDS go in, knowing Humanoid can't really follow up. And it's a nice sidestep from Ice. Adam yoinks Humanoid out and exhausts him, so Ice is able to play further up in the fight. But it's Noah on this left-hand side who finishes off LeBron, works them with Humanoid to come in here. Humanoid nearly ends up outplaying it, but the flash away, the Noah gets barely the double kill here. But now, Fnatic, they're on the Baron, and BDS, they're nowhere to be seen.
Sheo's dead, right? So challenging it would be a little trickier. Fnatic will get their 2nd Baron of the game. Death's Dance complete now for Humanoid as well.
It's fascinating to see how important that previous fight was, because you think about those HP bars. If Fnatic didn't have the gold lead that they had, that could have been on team, right? Like, those HP bars literally could have just been the wallet differences between the 2 teams. And honestly, my biggest criticism of Fnatic in that fight was the target focus. They tried to lock down the Morgana, whereas Ice was completely untouched in the fight. And obviously, initially, the combo looks good, but when you leave the MF untouched and Nuke is still very healthy, if those carries are able to stay alive and do damage, then obviously that's where things get scary for Fnatic. Regardless, though, they find themselves at the Baron. They have a 10k gold lead. It's just a matter of being able to break into the base of BDS and looking to close out this game. Fnatic fans, very stressful.
Stressful, yeah.
Very stressful right now, based on Fnatic's previous series. But I would say overall, we've seen promising things from Fnatic so far, in game 1 at least.
Not only a lead in the wallets as well, but they have the XP lead across the map. 18 to 16 in mid, 16 to 14 in the jungle, 17 to 16 in top, 17 to 15 in the AD carry role, and 13 to 11 in supports. An average of about 2 levels per player in advantage for Fnatic. Fate sealed, going in. True Shot Barrage coming out as well. LeBrob still has the Unbreakable Will here and doesn't pop it. Survives with about 300 HP. The Warmogs will start ticking over. Already has that Kindle Gem, so he will heal up if he wants to stay around. Instead, going back to the Fountain for now. Fnatic pushing on 3 separate lanes. Oscarinin has a cannon wave towards the top side. That will slowly work its way in. Humanoid down towards the bottom. Has a wave of his own. The Baron remains for a minute and a half. BDS trying to push this back. Ice opens up on the cannon. We'll take that in the mid lane. No wave for about 20 seconds there. Oscar has another one in the top lane, though, and Humanoid continues to push out bot. BDS trying to collapse, but can't find anything yet.
It's so difficult for them to find an engage because LeBrob has no flash, so no ultimate either means that he's in a difficult spot to try and go for this big play, but BDS setting up here is LeBrob. We'll find at least Razork for the moment.
It didn't really do too much there. Yeah. Razork was like, I guess I should use an ability after you've full comboed me here. Maybe just stopping the rotation there from Razork. The inhibitor tower in the top lane falls though, and BDS on the last dregs of their base defense. They go in, there's a Guardian Angel and Dark Binding going wide. We'll blame that on terrain diff, I guess, elevation or something. The Y-axis messing up the Dark Binding as an inhibitor tower falls in the mid lane. Noah on the front line. Adam tried to keep Oscarinin at bay. Nuke doing the same with Humanoid, but that turret's down to a 3rd HP now as well. The inhibitor in the top line has almost fallen, and BDS are just collapsing all over the map. They're trying to defend everywhere, and in doing so, defending nothing. Inhibitor tower in the bot lane, the last one standing for BDS, but not much longer, I think.
Flash is now up for LeBrob, but I think it's a little too late. You can already see it. The minion's going to clear out that bot tower. The top inhibitor falls. Fnatic delighted as they're going to reset. And now look what it mid on until that soul.
Triple inhib towers, double inhib. I think you're pretty happy with that off a Baron push. A minute, as you say, before the soul comes up. 12,000 gold lead now for Fnatic. They're further ahead now than they ever were in the finals. No way they throw this from
here. They're going to reset for the soul. Fnatic obviously in a great position here in game 1. Still a lot of this series left to be played. I think BDS have shown us a lot of positive things still. And ultimately, I still believe if they can just survive that burst, there's a world where they can win a team fight. But at this point, with the wallet difference, like GA completed for Humanoids, a death cap almost finished for Oscar. And I just like the way that Fnatic, they didn't try to overforce another fight. They just used the fact that Baron slowly chips away at the towers. And they also just have a lot of poke with both Ezreal and Kennen. And then on the side lane, no one can 1v1 Humanoid. So they can just be very methodical, be very patient. Humanoid going to use his ultimate. I don't think the cooldown is that long. So he's not going to be too big of a deal. Dragon is going to be spawning though. They don't want to allow BDS to go for any side lane shenanigans.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how quickly BDS might have moved down to be like, hey, Humanoid doesn't have ult. That's going to be kind of the go button, but double GA on both Razork and Humanoid would make the fight still incredibly difficult to try and win out on. And at this stage, I think BDS are going to realize, look, if we can just farm up for a little bit, maybe we can get to these last completed items and try and fight with a bit more of an even state, because 6 items almost almost fully across the board here for Fnatic means they're kind of topped off, so maybe you can catch up, but it's a long shot. Fnatic with this soul are so incredibly strong, and all they have to do is pile onto this bot lane inhibitor.
5-man bot for Fnatic. That's a possible strategy. Obviously, you can still leave Oscarinin and Humanoid in side lanes if you want. They can just add that extra pressure. They have the teleports to join back into the party. BDS looking for any sort of hope, any last vestige that they can find. Maybe just farming up, getting to level 18s across the board, get nuke another item. Currently only sitting at 4. 5 if you include boots, which we seem to do when we say 6 items. So perhaps we should
only
start,
at that when they start to get included.
Yeah, we should. Oh, only when you have 5 full items do you include boots as an item. Interesting.
It's true, actually.
Yeah, it's so weird.
I guess boots are just never really considered an
like
item.
an accessory, you know?
But guys, we don't have the authority to just change that, okay? We can't just decide that, just to be clear.
According to Reddit, we set all the narratives. So we can change it, Betty. Right. From now on, when you have boots, you're on 1 item.
Oh god, that's a dangerous game you're playing.
I think when you get to completed items, though, you should have 7 items because you got 2 boots.
True. Yeah. Did you ever, when you played Hecarim, buy 6 pairs of boots because you thought you had to? Even though he only has 4 feet, I think I just added 2
Centaurs do have 2 rib cages.
Yeah, that's true. They have 2 sets of lungs as well. I was talking about the anatomy of this the other day, and it confused the hell out of me. So, at the moment, the anatomy of this team fight is looking like BDS can't find it. as Humanoid continues to push out the bot side. With a 12,000 gold lead, no surprises that Fnatic can eat up that damage. The Mountain Soul, of course, helping them with that extra shielding. Next wave on its way in the bottom lane. 2 Nexus towers stand between Fnatic and the win, but a Baron perhaps the first prize in their eyes.
You can see how careful Fnatic is being. The comms are very clearly, guys, just don't do anything weird, okay? We're going to take our 3rd Baron of the game and everything's going to be fine. So that's what they're going to do. 3rd Baron of the game. All the inhibitors are down. Slow and steady is going to be Fnatic's approach. And you know what? Can't blame them for that.
Yeah, this is doomed for BDS. So
surely.
I'm not one to call games over before they but this one, quite possibly. 14,000 gold now the lead for Fnatic. It's really done, but dotting the I's and crossing the T's. You know, the dot and an I is called a tittle. It's a great name. Oh. And as you can tell from that stunning commentary I just raised, we're kind of waiting for one of these teams to take a fight, right? And Fnatic don't need to. They have the Baron. They've got double supers in every wave. Mid-wave a little bit desynced with the rest of it, but BDS now have to deal with 4 super minions pounding on their Nexus towers, and one's already down to half HP. Router dodges away with the Vault Breaker. Second Nexus tower also below 50%. BDS really, they don't have enough wave clear to deal with the minions, never mind with Fnatic. LeBron flashes in, knocks Humanoid back, but he can just yeet himself back out of the fight, and the True Shot Barrage finds its mark. The Vault Breaker, Sletsing Maelstrom. It's a shotgun, and BDS have eaten both barrels. Fnatic will clean it up and go 1-0 up in the series.
It was a slow and steady victory, but they will secure it. It really all started in that bottom river fight. The 4th Dragon, where Fnatic finally found the team fight that they were looking for. Great execution from them. 10-0-5 scoreline for Noah. I mean, 0-1-12 for Oscar. It's a little unfair considering of how good his cannon was in that game. But credit Fnatic, they find an important win and the first win of this series.
Yeah, dictating the pace of the game for so long. It kind of got a little bit close towards the mid-game, but very quickly, once they're able to find those fights, it went to nothing. But we're going to toss it over to a quick break, and we'll be back for game number 2.
Done?
Done.
There we go.
Break?
Break.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Red Bull gives you wings.
The assault and battery, Lebrov with a knock-up, tries to get Noah out of the situation, and the Unbreakable falls off, and Ice opens up the big guns.
Can you TP, Oscar? We can fight this.
Only
In the tower first, maybe?
Kill him. Kill him.
Yeah, I'm tanking.
Tower.
Is that Ali? Look, you have a position now to go, guys. Look at Morgana, guys. Morgana. One shot Morgana. Morgana is dead. Casante.
Nice, we kill out.
Go Nas after, guys. Drake and Nas, okay?
I got bot.
Yeah, nice counter pick, brother.
Welcome back to the LEC. I love me some voice comms, gentlemen. I think it's safe to say. Fnatic probably feeling reasonably confident after that first game, although still some pretty serious expressions as we get the behind-the-scenes look. BDS in a similar state. Guys, there's a lot to talk about in that game. For anyone looking to tune in now, the story of the moment, the words I'm looking for. Fight selection, going to be a big story. But before we get to that particular story, let's start with the draft. What popped out to you immediately, Aragon?
Yeah, so I think the thing that popped out to me the most was that this was very clearly a game where they're sort of experimenting and fishing with different picks on the new patches, because we've had 4 patches since the last time we saw the LEC, right? And immediately off the bat, I look at BDS and I'm seeing a B1MF. Now, the thing is to me with BDS is that I feel like they've over time developed the team to have a lot of dependency on Ice and his agency. You see him on Zeri, Jinx, these kinds of hyper carries that scale into the late game a lot, rather than this kind of MF, which can rely on team a bit more. So I feel like if this is the direction they want to go, I don't like it as much. I'd rather give them more agency on these kinds of picks.
And I was really surprised by the lack of Sejuani, because she was ramping up at the end of the finals, and then I thought with all the other nerfs that she would be like the most prioritized jungle, but she, like Aurora, weirdly enough, just slipped through the draft. And I guess it's because Fnatic actually chose the Vi themselves, so then they want to counterpick it with the Morgana. Didn't really work out, but I do see the logic there. I think the Morgana historically has been very good into the Vi, but I think Razork was very clever in how he used the Vi.
It's really weird, right? Like, usually, compared to the LCK, because we are one of the last regions to go over to this new patch, right? Usually what you see is an early Sejuani or a Maokai followed by a Lilia on the other side, and I just feel like we've completely done something near the opposite, right? Where you're playing for Vi pairings and so on.
Whatever is going on in scrims this week is clearly very weird, no doubt in my mind. But even though it was BDS, you could see what their composition wanted to do, there were still some of those individual errors in the early game that I think cost them dearly in this matchup overall, especially when we look at Adam around that bot lane tower.
Yeah, I do think something that BDS fumbled was the early game with Adam. I feel like they tried to do too much. They would play off of 3 lanes at one time with Adam on these dives, try to defend the cross-map play from Fnatic, as well as play for mid lane, top lane, and the neutral objective, which in my opinion is too much. At this point, you've just got to let the objective go, because you can't win every single lane at once when the enemy can form on you.
Even here, I think Adam even was out. He decided to walk in on the tower because he saw the Alistar come, and I think there was just some fake confidence going on there. He could just run out, live a happy Adam life, and just leave the tower.
I know, but despite these hiccups, I honestly feel like we talked about these compositions. Finn, you were talking so much about how hard it is for Fnatic to actually find a good fight. We talked about it with the Morgana Black Shield. Despite that, we come into the mid game, BDS are getting mid push, everything looks good. 4th Drake, boys, is where it all blew up. I really thought BDS had an edge. You heard BDS talk about it on the caster desk as well. It seemed close. Finn, we look back at this fight, it's incredibly neat that Fnatic managed to pull this off.
And just kudos to Razork here. He sees when the Morgana is distracted, he finds his Q flash angle, and he comes in with ult and actually get a one-shot. Because usually what happens in the Morgana versus Vi matchup, as long as Morgana has vision of Vi and she knows where she's coming from, she can always react to the engage with her own Black Shield, nullifying the Vi CC and making the Vi very easy to one-shot afterwards, because she can use root and an ult. But here Razork found the Q flash ult on the Morgana and actually one-shot her. So it was a very nice pick from Razork.
Yeah, I will say it's a testament to Fnatic's patience as well. We saw them and we were like, why aren't you cross-mapping on 3rd Drake? But I guess it's because the windows to find these engages are so thin that they have to be there to fish continuously. But they didn't overforce it on the 3rd Dragon. They just sat around and fished to see if they could find those thin windows to engage. They didn't find it and they just went back to waiting for 4th Dragon rather than fumbling the game at 3rd Dragon.
And so now I'm in a situation where I'm looking back at this game. We talk about Fnatic have a comp where it's difficult to find fights because of Razork's, individual moments there. They are able to find it. But is this a situation where we look at BDS and we go, you guys had the tools to win this, you just fumbled it a little bit?
I'm not gonna say that the tools, they had a slightly better draft, I would say, but it wasn't an easy to execute draft. You don't have any real tank because the Xanthus will not always be there with you to phase check. So I think maybe this game they're just gonna go back into the Sejuani, as we said before, and they're just gonna choose an easier to execute comp.
Important to know before we add any other follow-up notes about Game 2, BDS have chosen red side, so we'll see how that affects their draft overall. But looking ahead to that game, what do you want to see change? You mentioned Ice's champion pool. You mentioned their priority. What do you want to see?
I think the big thing is I'd rather see something like a Zeri prioritized, and I want to see other picks like the Aurora picked up as well. I really like the direction that Fnatic have gone in, at the very least when it comes to mid lane picks, expanding Humanoid's pool. I believe this was his first Yone game. These AD mids that have been buffed up, like the Yasuo and Yone, I like that direction as well. But specifically for BDS, in order to win, I think Ice needs more agency.
Yeah, I'm just trying to imagine they chose red side. That is so cool. That is so different. People usually don't choose red side, so I wonder they must have a plan here. I think they want to come in and target ban someone and try to make sure they get 2 power picks for 1 on the red side.
All I'm saying is, can someone please pick Aurora? We spent an entire week prepping for this champion because she's supposed to be turbo broken.
It's B1 and LCK, man.
If she doesn't get picked or banned, every caster here is going to be very cranky about the amount of prep they did. That's enough from us here at the desk. Let's send it over to our casters for Game 2.
I'm already mad, I'm going to be honest, that Aurora hasn't been picked or banned. Angry. Why do I learn ability names if I'm not going to use them on the cast?
I haven't heard you say watch out Eep for Lilia once.
Actually, there is a highlight on one of our recent videos where I say watch out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't watch it, so I didn't hear it. So the statement's still true.
Wow. We're here for Game 2. Fnatic, convincing-ish, winning Game 1 after they got the lead. They held on to the lead very well. BDS struggled to really have any impact after that first fight around the Drake. So, let's see what the teams conjure up. BDS picking the red side this time.
Yep.
Elected to move over there. Ashe and Rel banned out first by Fnatic. Ezreal and by... Well, BDS just going to ban everything they just beat them, aren't they?
Well, I mean, you've got to remember that Razork does have a very long history on the champion. And I think he was instrumental in setting up that crucial fight. And when we think about Noah, Ezreal is a champion that typically we associate with success. Even though in the finals he wasn't able to win those games, he was in a great position every single time.
They actually banned Ken. Yep. I didn't think they were.
So what else are they going to ban? They
draft something else, Fnatic.
So it's Nautilus on R3 into Braum ban. And then what's their final ban need to be?
Okay,
Yone. Nice.
Misfortune.
Okay, they can't ban Braum now. They probably want to pick it themselves. Misfortune obviously has very strong at the moment, especially with the Bloodthirster first. You can do a lot of work, but strange to see it be one priority, especially with things like Aurora still up.
Europe has definitely been they're always different with their draft priorities, I'm not going to lie. And MF first pick is definitely a bit of a surprise. I'm looking into a bit of the history here from Noah, and I can't find any Misfortune games. And I don't associate him with a Misfortune as a Misfortune player either. You know, you talked about the Braum, it does make a lot of sense in the context of Fnatic. They're continuing to pick the brand as well, even after some of the nerfs.
Yeah, I haven't really seen it in LCK or LPL, so surprised to see it. Like, we saw still smidgens of Zyra here and there, but brand kind of falling off the cliff, so kind of surprised that he's gone for that, especially over the Zyra, because I still think Zyra can do a lot when you're looking at what's already a pretty heavy dive comp. But the Ziggs now, this is something we see a little bit down in the bot lane in LPL, so I would imagine that's going down towards Ice, but we'll have to wait and see.
You got the flexibility is the beauty of the champion, right? And but yeah, you would imagine, given that we've already seen the Misfortune, that that would be where we're expecting it to go. Also, Ziggs Leona as a bot lane 2 versus 2. Early levels is a little bit weaker, but once you get that extra bit of mana, you start becoming very lethal.
Also, as Noah like opens up with the bullet time, it's just like 1 ult, 2 ult. It's like, just mess up this entire area. Just demolish it. So I do like it coming through from BDS.
And BDS have drafted themselves teamfight is so far, right? It depends how they'll round out. They could go for something like a Corki in the mid lane if they want to. Would make a lot of sense for Nuke. I think Lucian is also fine. I would prefer a Corki here, maybe even a Tristana. If they want to play something a little traditional in the form of the front of act, they can also ramp things out with the Cassante. Fnatic, though, is the one where I'm a little bit more... I feel like they need something like an Ornn or a Zac or a Malphite, because right now their initiation isn't the strongest. Maybe they're relying on the fact that BDS has a lot of initiation tools, and so they're going to play more peel, disengage, range.
Yeah, but the BDS has a lot of engage, but it's kind of non-committal, right? Like, you throw at the Sejuani ult, you don't have to follow up. You can throw at the solo player, you don't have to follow up. So I do agree with you. I think Fnatic needs something that can start the fight on their terms. Otherwise, BDS can kind of just fish for engages without having to really commit for it.
4 out of the 5 champions from Fnatic's last composition have now been banned.
Yeah, they couldn't ban the Braum because Fnatic picked it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. So very much a focus here from BDS. I do think, as you say, they want to continue down this range route. You don't really want more engage into a brand because it's brand, and if you have a bunch of melees into him, that Pyroclasm is just going to dash around. There's the Lucian, likely going into the mid lane with that Ziggs going bot. Fnatic eyeing up a Corki of their own to try and match that pressure from Nuke in mid.
Not sure how. I mean, like, Corki's generally always fine, right? Because he's Corki.
It's Worlds time. Corki, Ryze, Azir. Those are the 3 that must be at the top of the prio list.
I don't know if I like this.
I really don't like this.
Like, obviously, they're picking Cassante because it's a safe blind, and with Renekton gone, Fnatic is saying we don't really have that many options. Now, this could shake things up.
You scare it away, Veddy.
I kind of want it scared away, to be honest. Yeah. I, like, this, Humanoid, maybe you go Grasp of the Undying and go for a tankier build, but he is kind of the solo engage. So, like, he kind of has to send himself in to start these fights off. And with BDS, like, long-range poke from Ziggs, culling from Lucian. Honestly, well, Jace is banned, but, like, something long-range for Adam here could actually be really good as well. Like, you've no need to play into
I mean, they could do Kennen themselves.
I've got it. Kalista top.
Oh,
that would have been sick.
I would have liked the Kalista top.
Yeah.
You've been talking about it for weeks, Rob.
I want it.
It is something Adam has been playing a lot in solo queue, but instead the Camille for a little bit more dive. Some great pick potential as well from the Team BDS lineup.
So the only reason why I don't like the Lucian in BDS's composition is, like, great skirmisher. I think it can work well with the Sejuani. Obviously, the Sejuani Camille is a very strong top jungle duo. When it comes to the fights, I think that when you have a Ziggs, something like a Corki would have just given you a little bit more of non-committal DPS, just because Lucian just have to get a little bit closer, and it gave then Fnatic the ability to pick the Azir, which you then look at their disengage tools. They have MFE, MF ult, they have Braum ult, they have Brand. Like, it's a hard comp to engage into. So you've got a pretty interesting dynamic where on the side of BDS, they kind of want to find these fights. There's a degree of diving, there's a degree of short range. They have to really close that gap against you, whereas Fnatic is saying, well, you can try, but if you do, our Brand is going to alter you, our Misfortune is going to alter you, our Azir is going to alter you, our Braum is going to alter you. Like, it's going to be very difficult to commit onto this Fnatic composition unless they can find some creative flanks, nice picks with the Camille, and whether or not they can find advantages. This Sejuani Camille combo on the top side of the map is something that I'd really like to see BDS leverage in the early game.
I think the nice thing, though, is that for BDS. They just have so much control over every lane when you get to the mid game. Like Ziggs should have push over the Misfortune. Nuke should be able to get an aggressive against Humanoid. Same when you look at Adam. I think that's where you try and win out, just constant pressure and then just Ziggs to blow up structures as you move around.
As we jump into game 2 of our series, you're definitely right. Sidelines for BDS is definitely a strong suit that they'll have as we get into the mid to late game. Kind of looking at Fnatic's composition, like Cassante and Izzy, they can match, sure, but I definitely agree with you. There's room for potential. There's kill threats there on the side of BDS. We'll see how things play out, whether or not there's any early level 1 shenanigans.
You guys are master of the Rift. You never miss a game. Santander is here to reward you specifically. Yes, you, Kevin. Head on over to santandergaming.com to win weekly and monthly rewards like Hextech chests and skins. This week's code is Arcane10. With the new teaser just coming out, I'm very excited for Arcane.
All the Kevins were just casually watching on the second monitor, and then they're like, wait, what?
No, it's not all the Kevins. It's that Kevin.
Kevin, right,
he knows who he is.
Yeah, the guy sitting next to David.
Yeah, we know. Yeah.
Skynet is an operation.
Yeah. Anyway.
We have a couple of firsts in this game already. It's the first time we've seen Adam on Camille this year. First time we've seen Ice on the Ziggs ever, I believe. Noah hasn't really cracked out the MF across his competitive history either. So a few firsts going out.
And we'll see how they do. This is the favorite caster phrase. My expectation is that at early levels, actually, my instincts say that Noah and Jun should be able to get prior in this lane, because, yeah, Ziggs can't do anything.
So Ziggs really gets very strong around level 4, level 5,
Yeah.
and you can actually look for a lot of kill pressure, which I think people don't realize, as you can get that combo off, especially with the provided CC from LeBron. Having the Ignite down already makes it a little bit more tough, but you do have to be exceptionally careful at that level specifically, and then it kind of teeters back into, okay, he's a little bit more kind of poke, but there are a few levels on the Ziggs early that you can really get aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the advantages that Ziggs players have, being able to run the TP. The common occurrence, like you talk about being able to get that early mana item, right? And so then you just have the luxury of being able to spam your Q, and then you have much more control of the lane.
You want to build up towards that lost chapter as soon as you can, but for the moment, Noah and Jun have control of that lane. Razork pathing down towards the bottom side. Sheo pathing up. Should be spotted on this ward, or at least not quite spotted on the Razorbeaks. We'll see if he's able to avoid detection as he works his way around towards the red. Now, I mean, it depends how closely they were watching, really, doesn't it? If they spotted those couple of Razorbeaks dying at the end.
No pings, so at the moment I think he's relatively okay, but you're not, like, the only person I'm actually a bit worried about is Oscar, and I think he should be able to crash that wave there and then get a ward down to spot out where Sheo's going to be, but I don't expect too much action in these early stages. I think it'll be more Razork, full clearing, get your initial grab, and then just back off and come back onto the map.
Brand really just wants to cycle through those camps as quickly as possible. He closed them so fast, especially when you start building up some of that AP. Rylai's first is a Brand special that we've seen recently, just for the extra utility when it comes to team fighting. At the moment, Grab hasn't even spawned. 5 whole seconds for Razork to wander around, do nothing really, see if Sheo perhaps is on this side of the map, which he's not. Both the junglers should just get their first crabs. Might be a deep ward from Razork. Is he going to wait for the Gromp respawn? Is he going to look towards bot? Ice is down a little bit of HP, not much mana left in the tank either. Does have the flash, no Ignite for Lebrov right now. Unbreakable comes down. There's the TP in. Razork locked up underneath the tower. Ice falls first though. Fnatic tank it perfectly. Razork's being locked up, still has the flash and will dash across the wall to escape. Adam dashes forward, gets one. Jun stunned up as well as Adam's looking for more TP coming in as well. As it's Ice who's going to rejoin the party. Zenith Blade going wide. Adam still on the chase. Ice here for a little bit more action. Flash Satchel, a possibility. Jun sacrifices himself for the good of his ADC.
That works out really well for BDS. Adam had already got the push back out on top side, so he's not going to lose out a huge amount. Actually, nice freeze here from Oscar in for the moment, so we'll lose out in a little bit, but in the grand scheme of things, 2 kills off the back of that. This Camille is so accelerated. Sheen picked up early. This is so good for those early trades for Adam.
One of the things we wanted to see was BDS utilizing this top jungle combo. I was not expecting this and how they were going to use their top lane. Good early TP to try and mitigate the dive. Obviously, it's Jun to soak up that initial aggro. And I mean, the response is pretty good. I love the initial play from Fnatic. I think the play is pretty clean, given that running TP, you don't have that extra defensive summoner spell. So they find the initial pick, but then Adam in the extended trade, level 4, knows that the E is going to come back up soon. And the fact that Ice can just TP back into lane, so he doesn't really lose that much either, means that Adam definitely makes this trip worthwhile.
Yeah, he's gone back on a Sheen and a longsword. He is in heaven on the top side of the map. Oscar Rinin should be able to survive the pressure of Adam alone, but will be doing spending most of his time underneath that turret for the moment. Has the TP to get back. Adam might just look for plates, has Demolish, dashes away, didn't get the auto off in time. Oscar hits 6, and with that and a cannon wave going in, Oscar should be able to back and TP back to the lane.
You see that Adam was trying there though, buffering the hook shots, so then even if he got knocked back, he would have been able to get out. So should be able to at least keep this pressure up, and I think that's, actually Human are going to take a lot of hurt here. Nicely done by Nuke.
Humanoid has no TP as well. Like, he just got back into the lane with a blasting 1, so Nuke using the fact that he crested over to level 6, using that powerful ultimate to chunk away, and he goes in! Humanoid though dashes him back with the Emperor's Divide, the outplay! Humanoid absolutely nukes Nuke. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Jun and Noah are going to try and survive what is likely to be a dive here from BDS. Ice, Lebrov, and Sheo eyeing them up greedily under the tower. Zenith play it in. Lebrov tanking it, cleanse away by Noah. Noah falls first. Ice able to get 1. The response, Lebrov falling under the tower, and I don't think BDS will get any more.
Ultimately, a worthwhile trade, I think, for BDS. Look at how much farm is lost for Noah. At the very least, he is able to get a kill. So in terms of the gold, he's still in a pretty solid position. But that mid play, Humanoid, once again getting the better of Nuke. We saw it on the Yone in game 1. We're seeing it here again. Nuke, the idea was really good, but the shield from Humanoid's E mitigated so much damage. And then the thing I respect the most about Humanoid was he doesn't try and get the last auto, you know? He just says, you know what, if I try, I might actually die and trade 1 for 1. So instead, I'm just going to give the kill over to my jungler, and I'll be happy with that.
I'm pretty sure Nuke would have just died tower, though, if Razork hadn't taken it, right? So...
Well, I mean...
You could say the thing you respect the least about Razork is stealing the kill from Nuke under... You know, it's 6 at 1, half a dozen of another here, buddy.
It's all about perspective. And I just, when I think about Humanoid as a player, I've seen him definitely overstep for a kill or 2.
But it's playoffs, or season finals at least, so Humanoid's in the form of the year as he usually is when he gets to this level.
Yeah, let's hoping that they can maintain it, because, you know, while Fnatic, they've been able to find 3 kills, BDS have been the playmakers on the map. We see a stacked wave on top. Lebrov is here to cover. So it's going to deter Fnatic from setting up any potential divers. Razork is in the area. I say deter, perhaps not.
Send him Pyroclasm early. It's onto Adam to get the stun as well. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Noah caught out by Sheo and Ice. Noah has no flash. He can try to escape, but the Winter's Wrath will put him in his place. On the top side of the map, Jun bolstered the attack from Razork and Oscar, but looks like Adam and Lebrov were able to get out safe.
They did manage to shove Adam back though, so will end up losing out of the wave. You're also going to see this top side taken, so Sheo not going to be able to get his top side camp, so at least Fnatic going to be able to get a decent amount back here in trade for what's going to be a bit of a lead now for Ice in that bottom lane.
Ultimately, the gold advantage that Adam was able to gain on the bot side has been completely nullified. And look at that experience difference now.
That's the flash early. The Zenith Blade's going to chase him here. Nuke can start to collapse. Sheo can dash across the wall. The flash is also a possibility. Dashes first. Humanoid here to back him up. The Emperor's Divide, but another shield of Daybreak sends Razork packing. BDS 5-3 up.
Razork stuck around too long, and good punish from BDS. Lebrov just able to clip him with that Zenith Blade, and again, more kills now going towards Adam. This Camille should be behind when you look at the CS, but she's just got so much gold off these kills.
So Noah gets picked in bot lane. On the top side, Razork's getting picked as well. I think Fnatic's idea behind the cross map is a solid play to try and deny some gold away from Adam, but they can't afford to be making these mistakes, as BDS is very quick to capitalize. Though we look at the overall gold state, very even between the two teams.
It's just greed from Razork trying to get that red buff alongside the plates they got on the top side, and now he doesn't have flash for the next Drake, which is up in 2.5 minutes. It's been a 3 grub for a Drake exchange so far. Fnatic got the 3 this time. Seems like blue side likes to get the grubbies, and red side here, the Drakes early on in this series.
I think as BDS, you can deprioritize grubs a little bit because you've got the Ziggs. It makes it so easy to just execute those towers, and I think that's exactly what they're going to look for here as Sheo starts to move down. 2.5 plates is where you can use that satchel charge, or just under, so trying to see if they can get that last little bit of damage onto this bot lane turret and take it for the Ziggs.
So Sheo wasn't spotted on that ward because the sweep was already out. Even though he was in vision range, Jun's going to put the Unbreakable down. Mega Inferno bomb comes out as well, but not too much damage with only a lost chapter. And that other item, Fiendish Codex, that's the one. Don't often have to talk about parts of, you know, AP items, but Ice unable to really chunk out Jun right there. Did burn the heal and the flash though, so Jun summoning a less for the next Drake fight.
So though Ice just going to get some damage down, has that teleport to get back into lane if he needs to, but I don't think he has too much that he needs to worry about. Well, Humanoid now trying to use that push he has in mid to sneak up towards topside. I think Adam's aware of this though, hiding in the brush to see if he can see Humanoid.
Comes back out, and the cannon minion starts being targeted. It's 2 levels down on Oscar, and you talked about the CS discrepancy up towards that top side, Betty. Adam has felt the pain of that TP away, but 3 kills to the good, can look for more here as LeBron is starting to circle. Sheo on his way across as well. Nuke starting to work his way towards the top side. Oscar in and goes in with the Pathmaker. Shielded Daybreak for the stun. The Solar Flare connects as well, and the CC chain is good so far. Hexagolden Maiden locks Oscar in place. The All-Out will buy him a second, but Precision Protocol from Adam's enough to secure the kill.
The play on the top side was great from BDS, but I loved watching Ice this whole time. Starts walking back to lane, but was like, if multiple members of Fnatic show up here, I'm teleporting top. And I think that's the sign of a team that's used to practicing with Ziggs, is how they use that teleport in the early stages. But with everyone from BDS going top side, Fnatic going to get some alone time on this mid lane turret.
Constant exchanges across the map. BDS continue to find these picks. On the top side, they're able to find that nice gank. They get the ghost out from Oscar. The Dragon now spawning in 30 seconds, resets coming through. Similar to what we saw in game 1, BDS very focused around these objectives. They want to be able to spend this gold. And there's that Trinity Force now secured for Adam. He's going to have that available. It looks like Nuke, though, won't have the opportunity. Maybe after this wave, they'll have enough gold to be able to complete another item. The plating. Ooh.
Already has the Nash, is going to get a plate from this as well. Both the mid laners do have their TP, so if they want to reset straight away, they can get back into the fray. In fact, around the Drake, 9 seconds on it. Nuke's going to reset first. Likely just to TP back to the mid lane. Doesn't quite have the gold yet to complete an item, so it's just going to be a pickaxe of Amp Scepter and a bow and another little dagger for him. Nicole sitting at 30 stacks. Gold even between the two teams as BDS start to make their way down towards the bottom side. It's Ziggs in the mid lane. Ice answering the push that's come out from Humanoid so far. He TPs to bot lane though, and he's looking for a couple more plates to add to his menu this game. Another one taken. Fnatic start up the Drake.
There is a world where Ice can lean bot and just clear out that wave with his ultimate if needs to, but looks like he's going to hard focus on towards the mid lane, and BDS kind of realizing, look, a set first Dragon for Fnatic doesn't really mean too much. This is a composition that wants to be accelerated and hit a late game point with the Ziggs and the Camille, so focusing more on the gold for this one.
It's interesting how Fnatic just overstack the bot wave and completely abandon mid. It means that there's ultimately a trade of plates between Ice and Humanoid, while Noah just controls the river with his jungler. And as you rightly said, BDS felt awkward trying to fight that, especially with BT being completed and Ziggs, the state that he's in. It's probably not something that you immediately want to try and force. So, yeah, okay, fair respect being given from the side of BDS, and ultimately, I would say a small win for Fnatic as they're able to secure the Dragon.
The battle as the game goes on is really about how big can Adam get and how big can Humanoid get. Who will be able to really chunk out the enemy backline during a fight where we see a slide and a glide in from Humanoid, the Faker special, his signature move across the course of his career.
Yeah, I expect an early Zhonya's or something along those lines for Humanoid, because again, he kind of has to be that playmaker here for Fnatic. It's really difficult for them to try and set up, especially for someone like Noah in these fights, unless you get that set up. So I think it'll be on Humanoid to make that happen. Otherwise, Ice gets the poke you can open up for Nuke with that ultimate, especially if the Glacial Tomb from Shale lands, the Solar Eclipse from Labrov lands. It's very easy for BDS to get successful poke off before Fnatic can start a fight.
No, I was only going to say, my interpretation is that I think Fnatic value being on the objective first. We talked about in draft how I think that they like it when their opponents walk into them, and when you've got Sejuani, Leona, champions that inherently like to face check. Yeah, good luck face checking Brand Braum. But if they're on an objective late, that means they have to find some sort of pseudo-engage. And speaking of an engage...
Solarflare only gets the slow. Lebrov looking for Jun right now. They go for Razork instead. The Emperor's Divide comes out. Pyroclasm is bouncing. Lebrov takes a chunk. Nuke now behind them as the TP, from Adam has come. Both top laners are here in the bottom side, but like it's just the damage on Lebrov chunks him out in the end. Not really too much happening apart from flashes burnt from the junglers.
Through the locket, Razork was doing so much damage on the backsides. I mean, that brand was nerfed, right? It was nerfed? Yeah, Razork making it not look the case, as just the passive doing so much work on the backside as well. He was very patient with the ultimate as well. He waited for BDS to start disengaging, and then basically this brand ultimate was bouncing between Ice, Sheo, and Adam. And then the locket did come through, but it really only just... I say the locket came through. I'm pretty sure they don't even have a locket.
No, they do. It's on such.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I thought that was the... yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, I mean, ultimately, no one ends up falling. Still kill advantage to BDS. Adam testing the waters a little bit against the Braum. But we turn our attention to the Herald now on the top side of the map as the lane priorities have shifted. Notice how Fnatic continues to play around Humanoid, right? One of the big adjustments, I would say, that we've seen from the summer finals, where Noah was really the person they invested in a lot. And while we've seen a lot of early ganks from the bot side, as we enter the mid game, we saw it in game 1, them facilitating and playing around Humanoid on a side lane, and we're seeing it again here.
Solarflare back up for Lebrov. Humanoid does have his flash. Adam and Sheo looking to collapse onto him, but he can always just dash across the wall. Adam and Sheo can do the same to escape the clutches of Jun and Razork, who are chasing them a little bit. No dashes having to be invested, but this gives free time to Ice in the mid lane alongside Lebrov just to take down this tower. The satchel would be enough, not even going to use it until now. And there we go, the tower falls.
So that's the thing, Fnatic are spending time chasing BDS around the map, but Adam and Sheo know there's very few engage tools unless they face check Jun.
Hey, they face check Jun! But Adam can dash away, flashes away from the order, but Humanoid flashes to follow. Glacial Prison hits only onto Jun. Adam able to survive for now. It was a close one, but the Rift Herald stopped by Razork gives time for Nuke to work his way up from the bottom side of the map, and perhaps BDS will look at this as their next objective. Lebrov still has a flash if he wants to get in. Adam, no TP, he's just backed away. He's going to answer Oscar down towards the bottom side.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is you can't commit to this wave as Fnatic because Ice can just clear out the wave with his ultimate and then you've got nothing and suddenly you're underneath the tower. But Fnatic are creating enough points of pressure that they will get some damage on top. Oscarin is getting bot, and a huge amount of that comes off the fact that Adam had to burn his TP to cover the initial top side play when Rift Herald was spawning. You don't have that TP on Nuke, so Oscarin will get a tower still in Fnatic's favor.
It's an interesting tempo game here as well, because you see Nuke move up towards the top side to cover that wave, right? And then Ice backs. He has TP, so if Fnatic start to contest around this Rift Herald, he can always TP and be here a little bit quicker than Fnatic would. Jun is now moving across. Ice has just walked out of base. Razork's here as well. Humanoid got the push in top side, but with Sheo starting this and now Nuke backing away, Fnatic could actually try and challenge this if they wanted. They have a numbers advantage if Humanoid moves down from top side.
I was going to shift across. You can look for a quick engage here if you want to, but Fnatic now in position. And again, I think BDS, while they do have the number of TP advantages, I think they haven't been using them as much as they'd like as Jun, actually.
That was just a really strange sequence to me, because I think if Nuke stays in top lane, then they're always going to have a man advantage, right? Because they can burn the TP in by the Ziggs, but Nuke backed away. I didn't see his health. Maybe he was just about to hit a spike or something and wanted that little bit of extra gold, but you kind of sell Sheo a little bit there.
Yeah, what I mean is, like, you can be using Ice in different ways. He doesn't have to TP to certain positions, but he can lean down river, toss the ultimate because he's already hit the level 11 to clear the wave and create less pressure on the map for Fnatic. And I think that's where BDS have been missing out with the Ziggs, especially when you see like players like Jackie Love in the LPL. That's kind of what he's using a lot of the time, is that global to just get tempo on the map.
That's the first time we've seen Ice competitively on the Ziggs, so perhaps a few teething issues for BDS. Noah, well, there was a roundabout there, Betty, and he has to go around it to make sure that he can take the right exit. Lebrov stepping forward. Adam hasn't been on vision at all. The cleanse away from Noah, and immediately the clamps onto Adam. There's the bullet time, and Adam is put in the dirt. Noah able to get the all-out out here from Oscarin, who isolates Nuke as well. Fnatic react perfectly to Adam's flank.
That was a great example of how hard it is to really dive this comp. This Misfortune was flanked on, got chain CC'd by both the Camille and the Leona, and the Avengers descended immediately. All of Fnatic was there to provide that peel for Noah. The Braum peel was huge, the Cassante ultimate to take Lucian out of the fight. It's just like, you just can't touch Noah. And again, as we look at this fight, look at how much CC came down, but they just couldn't kill it.
Yeah, I think it was a lack of patience from BDS, though. You can play this slow, but you have one ultimate that's going on towards Razor, no follow-up from Ice. You've got another ultimate from the Camille going on towards Noah. Ice doesn't have that ultimate to follow up, so you end up with a very split decision here from BDS, and that's where then Fnatic can play this very heavy peel up, Jun getting in the way, Humanoid buying space, opening up with that ultimate as everyone on BDS is funneling through that choke.
I mean, it's unfortunate to say, but this is a bit of a tales all the time when it comes to BDS. When we look back at their previous series against G2 where they did fall short, even when they found themselves in winning positions, it was because they just picked poor fights. Sometimes it just didn't make sense for them to fight, sometimes the fights were uncoordinated, and as Dagda highlighted, the coordination there wasn't quite on point. I think you nailed it on the head in the sense that CC just wasn't layered, the target focus wasn't there. And BDS, they need to clean that up if they want to stand a chance against Fnatic here in Game 2.
And now Fnatic in the gold lead, about 1.3k ahead. You can see the advantages on the key carries for them. Humanoid and Noah, about 1,000 gold in total ahead of their opposite numbers. Razork as well, can't overlook him on the brand. The damage the Pyroclasm can do, especially when you don't really have anyone that can easily eat it. Only Sheo and Lebrov, but Lebrov is still away from a Warmogs, and Sheo, is Locket Abyssal. If he's the one eating the Pyroclasm, Razork's using it incorrectly.
And it also puts BDS in a very difficult spot now where you're getting side lane pressure for Fnatic, which means they can group up on mid, means you don't get to use the Camille, you don't get to use a lot of those pushing lanes that we were talking about already. Now, Ice can keep a lot of the waves safe, as you can see in the mid lane, and try and delay the game, but it only takes a moment for Fnatic to suddenly group on mid, catch Ice out, and you don't have a mid lane or a Ziggs anymore on that mid turret.
Moment BDS trying to lie in wait, see if anyone oversteps. Adam here towards the mid side. Razork has his flash, as does Noah. I know that Razork's in the area. Lebrov's going to be the one to face check. Knows it for sure now that Razork is waiting in that bush. Puts the control board down. Jun comes in, flashes for it.
All right.
Cool.
Bit of a Mickey cosplay there. That was ambitious. Doesn't quite work out.
Hey, he's too damn tanky, Veddy. You can't kill him. He's too damn tanky, man.
There's viewers that will not know that reference. You can look that one up, Xpeke, the legend. So right now it's just a bit of a contest over the control of the bot side jungle. Ooh.
They're too tanky as well.
Yeah.
Gonna walk away from that one. The burn from the brand doing some work. Humanoid, his priority this series is just to be a side laner, and he has done an effective job. Oh, Razork needs to be careful.
They flash for him, he flashes away. Just in time to dodge the Glacial Prison. As you say, a collapse possible. If only Jun had flash right now, he could flash Glacial Fissure. He can't get in range to do it. And the collapse becomes not much, as Humanoid now can push out the bot side. Adam's going to try and respond, but again, Fnatic are doing a really good job of shadowing Humanoid, making sure that he can never be collapsed on easily by BDS.
Yeah, basically what Fnatic are doing is drawing this portion of the map and saying this is ours. So if you're looking at BDS, they have to go the whole way around the back to try and defend, but you've got the quicker access on the map through these points here as Fnatic, and making it really, really difficult for BDS to defend. And it's a little bit difficult because they don't have those engage tools to just jump on someone the second they see them, but you can see that BDS are trying to find those Fnatic members as they're separated, trying to set up for that play in the hopes they can deny it, but still Humanoid is able to get a little bit of a push. But I think this is what we'll see Fnatic continuously go for, and then you either get mid turret or you get pressure onto the tier 2, and BDS are left in a bit of a catch-22.
So just finishing a second Hydra now as well. The Void stuff alongside the Leandries. No Rylai's yet. Doesn't really need it as much this game. The slow not as powerful. Doesn't really need to stop BDS from being able to get onto his backline. Just doing a fantastic job of that so far. Now, again, look where Humanoid is. He's in a side lane pushing forward, and Fnatic are covering him. I remember only a few years ago, one of our catchphrases for Humanoid was, in a side lane, Humanoid dies. Fnatic making sure that's not the case this game. He's yet to die. He has a 250 gold bounty on his head and is 1,000 gold ahead of a nuke in that mid lane. BDS trying to collapse, but Fnatic are just escorting the President away. Jun tanks it. Glacial Fissure coming out. Jun down to about half HP. There's the culling. Razork falls first, so does Jun, but Humanoid survives. And the goal for Fnatic continues to be that. Good collapse from BDS, a Baron perhaps.
A really nice force from BDS. They stacked as 5 on the top side, and even with the tankiness of the Braum, they were able to just push through it, get that execution onto the jungler. Now Noah's going to be crucial in this fight.
All out Emperor survived. And The bullet time could be enough here for Fnatic. The Baron down to 5,000. Lebrov is flanked all the way around, but spotted on a ward now. There's the bullet time. Adam on the front line! Noah gets it somehow. Noah gets it. Nuke falls after, and Fnatic are looking for a bit more of a chase. Lebrov has been caught by Jun. Sheo's going to be able to get his recall off, but I don't think that same luxury is afforded to Ice. He's collapsed on by Noah and by Oscar and put on Ice himself. Sent to the morgue by Fnatic. A Baron at their backs.
What the hell just happened? I looked to see Lebrov getting jumped on, and the Baron was stolen by Noah. Now everyone on BDS is dead apart from Sheo, and Fnatic are cracking turrets and cracking heads.
Misfortune Ultimate. We were just talking about how crucial it was going to be in this fight. And the way that he used it, he found such a good angle. I think his goal was to just do as much damage as possible. But the fact... I mean... I don't think I even saw the smite. I think he just killed it. He just straight up killed the Baron and said, thanks for that, team. And in a 3 versus 5, Fnatic walk away with 4 kills and the Baron buff.
I mean, that's one for Hawkeye to have a look at, because like, is that in, is that out? That was close. It's I wonder if the Zeke's convergence as well from Oscar in helped out a little bit. You can see dismayed for BDS there. The Drake secured as well for Fnatic. They've already got 6k off this Baron power play, by the way. They're 1 Drake away from a Cloud Soul. They are 7,000 gold in the lead right now, and everything's coming up roses for Fnatic. A bounty on the heads of Noah and Humanoid. You can see the gold explosion for them. Ice in the mid lane still has his flash, and Fnatic don't really care about the kills anymore. They can, as you say, just crack through these towers. The standing money on the map, those standing objectives will fall lickety-split in their wake.
Especially with both side laners for BDS pushing, means that they can just crack up in the mid lane structure. Sheo is sitting off to the side, but he's going to have to abandon this moment. Fnatic, they've just fully taken this game by the horns.
Weird one, for sure. I was expecting more like large-scale fights. I think we got 1 fight towards the bot side of the map. A lot of it has just been finding picks all across the board. And yeah, that Baron, the initial premise is good from BDS, but there were 2 key factors that came into play. The first one was Humanoid did a lot of damage, even though both Razork and Jun died. So that was the first step. The second step is then the Baron taking speed isn't that fast from BDS. And so you've got the time for Noah to position himself, and then Oscar and Humanoid, like, you know, you see the idea, numbers advantage, but the key targets that you needed to take out were still alive, and so that Baron was always going to be a threat, and ultimately they didn't respect it, and Fnatic ended up coming out on top. So now they find themselves with a 7.5k gold lead as a team. Humanoid alone has a 3k gold lead. His death cap is finished. He's working towards a Void Staff or some other magic penetration item, and Fnatic knocking on the base once again.
TP coming in, Oscar in. They really want to hard force this down, and BDS aren't in position.
They just can't get close enough right now. It would be a Glacial Prison thrown at arm's length from Sheo to try and find a pick, but Jun's there on the front line alongside Oscar in the inhibitor tower in the top lane already gone. The inhibitor short to follow as Noah cracks it down.
And Oscar in just set up a slow push on the bottom side as well, right before he teleported in, so Fnatic can now go down. Adam going to try and beat them to the punch to clear out that wave so they can't try and meet it, but Fnatic setting up the map in their favor nicely.
Baron has expired, but Fnatic are not stopping on the push. Oscar in at 3.5 items ahead of Adam. His are sizably cheaper, of course, but in a strong position as Nuke eats half his health for breakfast. Sheo coming in from the backside onto Razork. He still has the flash. The Pyroclasm going down as well. The culling not really clipping onto Humanoid. Noah chasing out Nuke. He opens up and bullet time. Dodge this, says Noah. Humanoid slides. Ice back. And he's sent packing. Fnatic clean up the fight and lose no one.
It is a clean ace for Fnatic. Sub 30 minutes with a lot more confidence. Fnatic look to go to match point in this series against BDS.
I still can't believe Noah stole that Baron. That ultimate was immaculate and won Fnatic that game. The MF coming in clutch right at the end.
When you pop the bullet time, you can see the Matrix, and he read those 1s and 0s. He knew exactly what he was doing. It's actually based on a Chinese takeout menu, the code in the Matrix.
Oh?
Yeah, it's just like all of the code is just... That was a bit of a weird thing to go to right now when it popped into my head. Fnatic are clean. Fnatic are clean. We'll see you after this. Google it.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Lore!
Red Bull gives you wings.
Hey, shouldn't you be on stage right now?
Hey, you got a pick. Tom Kent? What? I was not expecting this.
And a crazy off-meta pick that secured you the win. How did you come up with it?
I just listened to my gut.
ultimate chunked away, and he goes in. Humanoid though dashes him back, but the Emperor survived the outplay.
Leona, Leona. Oh, Camille. You should come, Camille, guys. I stand here. I can go, say you.
Okay, no flash.
They will finish.
Oh, take it.
Oh my god, you stole it! Oh my god.
There is Leona somewhere. Go here. Kill them. Leona is dead.
Oh my god is completely correct. I have no idea how that happened. None of us have any idea how that happened. Welcome back. This is the LEC. Fnatic are up 2-0. Gentlemen, before we get into that game,
yes,
we need to talk about that one play. So for like the 5 millionth time, if you've been putting it on repeat, can we look at this? What the heck happens? These are the initial kills leading up to it, but this is one of the weirdest sequences of plays we've seen all day.
Yeah, it looked really good as well, right? You utilize the Camille Ziggs combo to one-shot that target, they can't walk out of it, and they naturally just pop. Then you try to flex Nash. Now, I think with Nash here, your damage is relatively low. Ice, notably, is kind of out of mana, so he's struggling a little bit. But then, I think the big story here is Noah finding positioning around the Fog of War, around the corner, and Sheo maybe being a little bit scared of the MF ult damage and fumbling the smite.
But how? Okay, you're bringing in actual analysis, and I get it, Aragon, but this should not happen. Like, this is absolutely crazy. It's daylight robbery. I can't believe that Fnatic got away with that. Absolute. Like, I like the positioning of Noah. As soon as he sees the Leona, he's like, okay, I'm gonna create that space and move all the way around here. Ultimate, fine. Maybe we can chunk some members. Yes, you get killed. The fact he gets a Baron too? What?
Look, he's the GOAT.
Absolutely.
Or someone on the enemy team is trolling. For now, he's the GOAT, though. We like positive spin here on the broadcast. Let's take a step back, though, and take a look at the draft. Because ultimately, while that was how the game more or less ended, it really wasn't how it started. When we take a look at the draft, what were the initial expectations? What did you guys like? What didn't you like?
I really liked. Immediately, I was super excited about BDS's draft, right? It's super LPL-esque. We usually do see the Ziggs Camille combo come up pretty frequently, but I do think some things went wrong. And right off the back, I think the solo laners were underperforming for BDS. You could look at Adam's KDA and argue, you know what, he did fine. But the reality is these kills were not replicable ways of getting gold. They were very often through random teleports or opening through mid and finding a pick. His general laning, he would often fall behind despite having these leads. And then in mid lane, Nuke falling behind, getting solo killed under tower often led to Grubs being taken away as well, which this composition very dependent on.
But this is not BDS. Like, when I'm looking at this draft right now, there's nothing about this draft that screams to me this is a BDS draft. Right, let's think about how they were successful. Either you had Adam on some of their old Gods champion, but we haven't really seen that quite often. What really worked for them lately was putting him on the Sion, the Ornn. You're just going to weak side, you're just going to be a great team fighter. You're going to scale into the late game where you can team fight and play through what? Your AD carry, who's outside of that last G2 fight, was mega reliable throughout summer playoffs on the hyper-scaling AD carries. What have we seen it on? The Misfortune first pick, the 6. So much of these things I'm seeing right now for BDS, I love the ingenuity. It is LPL. Is it BDS? I don't think so.
It is very against what Ice wants. The thing is, right, with BDS, usually when Zeri is banned, they often go to Jinx. That's the other option they have, but they're just not even looking at the champion right now. I also think another problem here is that Adam, he doesn't play sides, man. Like, is he gonna side? No, he's gonna group. And the problem is when you're grouping as Camille here is you're dashing into an Azir Braum combo, which is a very powerful combo because now Azir soldiers apply Braum passive and you just get locked up the second you dash in. So I think he had real issues grouping here and it was really highlighted in the third Dragon fight.
Yeah, the Dragon fight especially, obviously the moment that really broke the camel's back. Yeah, the steal was, look, the steal was the steal. Okay, but that was ultimately, this is the fight where we see BDS on paper have the plan coming to fruition, but it just doesn't work out.
And it's kind of a back mistake from Noah. He took the Rift Hell, realized, I can't crash this, I'll die, I have to drive away, drive straight into Adam. But it's a bit too early, no one's really there ready for the follow-up. They can't really get the 6 Camille combo down, and it just ends up being BDS themselves falling into a trap despite them trying to set themselves up for success.
Yeah, that engage felt a bit discoordinated. It felt like the Ziggs ult came out a bit late, like Ice wasn't expecting, and he was also a little bit far away, and then the Locket came in as well to save him.
Yeah, ultimately, gentlemen, we're coming to the next game. BDS, once again, they've lost against the luxury of side selection. They've chosen red side. If at first you don't succeed, try again.
No more Ziggs. I think they're going. If they go
MF
blue
stole
side,
a Baron.
If they go blue side again, yeah, but it wasn't Ice.
She's a pirate.
They've gone red side. They've gone red side.
They've gone red side. They're committing.
Yes,
now
yes,
the question
yes.
then is who gets draft resources, right? Is it going to be a run back of Adam getting counterpicked? Because like you look at the KDAs and you're like, okay, Adam did fine. Maybe if we give him resources again, it'll work out this time.
Listen, I'd just love to see Adam on an Ornn. I know this sounds weird, right? Especially of the caliber of a player he's been in the past when he's bringing out these wacky picks. But right now, what I think you need is good late game scaling, and I think you need to set yourself up for success in team fights, because even going back to game 1, it was difficult for BDS with a lead to find ways to play the game.
Okay, but we spent all year being like, BDS, we want evolution. And now when they're under the gun, we're like, go back to scaling. Is
But
that
there comes a point where you can try and evolve, and there comes a point where you have to say, we can't go for it anymore. We have to just make it work. You got to remember what's on the line, and often we've talked about it in the past. It's not about being the best right now. It's just about outrunning the next.
you don't have to be the fastest. You just can't be the slowest.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think this is what happens when you lose a bunch in the playoffs, right? You just go back to what you were doing. I think their bread and butter right now, the most success they had in playoffs was tank top lane. Cassante on with a front-to-back team fight, hyper carry, ice, and an AD carry mid as well. Play that double AD carry style with an AP damage jungler. Bring back the Zyra, heck. You know, you see that sometimes in the LCK and the other regions as well. I think if they go back to this, which is probably their plan, they could work out here.
Unfortunately, gentlemen, we will get to see that adaptation here on the desk as we will be covering picks and bans. And I think interesting to see how much will change. Also on the side of Fnatic, right? We get the rinse and repeat for the first time this series. On-side selection, both teams on the same respective side. And I don't really know what the adaptations do. Fnatic feel like they're under pressure to change anything? There were some questions. Adam was a little bit unleashed in that early game, more than he should have been.
For sure, but that also goes down to that execution on the first dive, right, where he gets mega accelerated in the Camille into Cassante matchup then afterwards. But I gotta say, outside of that, I think Fnatic has been quite stable. You know, Humanoid's actually been having a mega series as well. The Yone was amazing game 1, had some highlight moments here as well on the Azir. It just feels like he's bringing out what we already know, but he's bringing out some new things too, and that also makes it scary, because it's not just about the draft adaptation, it's also the in-game part of it.
And also analysis adaptation. Finn, if you could join us now. 2 high elo top laners was not enough. I need 3 just to make sure we had full coverage.
Thank you.
For the next Cassante versus Camille matchup. So let's take a look. Let's get into it. So initial expectations. Scaling for BDS, the safe bet, as we've talked about on the desk. Is there anything in the bans that you guys want to see?
Well, I'm very curious why they've chosen the red side once again, because it clearly hasn't been working. They banned Vi Estral last game, and the Kennen on free, so I imagine they're going to change the 3rd ban.
Yeah, I'm looking at maybe a Braum denial. I feel like it's been a real problem pick for Fnatic, as well as a jinx for BDS. I think go back to the hypercarry style when the Ashe and the Zeri are banned away.
Yeah, so now the Kennen is open, so Fnatic is going to have to find a different first pick. I imagine we can go into the Sejuani, but it's going to be a Nidalee, which is very unique. Razork did have that great Nidalee game before.
Game 5 versus G2, upper bracket of summer just a few weeks ago now. It's crazy to think.
Is this clever or is this hubris from Fnatic?
Exactly.
What they've been doing has been working, and now they bring out the Nidalee in game 3 when they're 2-0 up, so we'll see if it works out.
If it's not broken, try something different.
Yeah,
appears to be the Fnatic
that's
mantra.
my point, because you're like, do they need to adapt? My thought is immediately, no. What do they do at immediately? I mean, I know the MF was banned, right? But this feels like such a curveball to go for immediately. And Lilia will be picked up. I feel like we've not been seeing this champion enough, and I'm actually quite happy to see it again.
I wonder if we'll see stuff like the Yone come out as well for Nuke, but maybe not. This was buffed, right? Cassiopeia was buffed, but then you'd be stacking double AP, so I don't think it's realistic. I think it's probably going to be something like a Corki or a Lucian locked in here for Nuke. I wouldn't like to see the Cassiopeia personally.
Yeah, and I wonder if we're going to see these cheeky level 1s with Lilia, because I remember when she was meta 2020, it was always a fight for whoever got the chickens. Are we going to see a chicken invade level 1 or not with this Lilia? Because I hope we do it, because you really want to stop the Nidalee from being able to do whatever she wants. Because if Nidalee can clear faster than you, she can then look to invade you and like stop your clear.
Then you could pick something with mid-prior early game, like a Lucian, and then potentially contest with those rates on the respawns as well, right, into the Corki.
Yeah, it's interesting. We talked about BDS using, obviously, Red 1-2 to secure 2 power picks. Lilia and Corki weren't necessarily what I was expecting. Corki conventionally good. Lilia, not something we see a lot. I know on paper it's been strong for a long time, but Fnatic, quick to fire back. Again, Renekton, classic pairing alongside the Nidalee and a bit of AD in the mid lane in the form of Yone. Honestly, Fnatic started this draft. I don't know, boys. Feel pretty good.
I mean, in mid-game, sure, like Yone can cancel out the sleep as well, but you don't get that mid-prior that Aragon was talking about here. And that's a great question. I think it's probably fine, but I don't know. I'm going to ask my top lane connoisseur. What are you going into?
I mean, you have 2 options. You can go into the Olaf set Gnar line where you want to fight them early, or you just lock the Ornn, which is like the most
it's
fundamental, tried and true answer to Renekton across all the metas.
Boys. This feels like a you were right, but at what cost? You said he can go the Olaf, but Adam, the Olaf guy, doesn't want. I don't love it for BDS.
Yeah, I think you can R4 here now, something like a Jinx, and then give counter pick support as well. I think you got to take away the Braum. I think the Braum's been a real pain, and then if you're blind picking, for the Ornn wall as well, and then also if you're blind picking like an engage support, you know, it could be problematic.
I also am interested to see what Ice is going on as that late game reliable AD carry, because Seri's already out, Jinx is already out,
Aphelios, I think.
Ezreal Misfortune, yeah, but they still have another ban, so there's still opportunity for that to be taken away, so that pool is definitely getting pinched.
Apparently Ice is supposed to lock in Ashe and also hashtag buff Runans. So if we want to crowdsource our pick bans from the audience here, I can't imagine the BDS will do that.
Ashe is a bit banned, sadly.
Yeah.
But 5 AD carries are
Didn't stop
banned.
the person from making that sign.
Didn't stop him, no. But we have 5 AD carry bans, maybe even 6 now, and it's going to be hard to look into finding a strong scaling AD carry that can also be good in lane. You kind of have to choose now. Do you want to go for like a Caitlyn on 4, like a Kalista, and just try to dominate? Or are you going to go into... I think with Leona and Brown banned, I think it's completely fine to pick something like Alistar on 4 as well. I think Labrov is very comfortable on that champion, and I think we might even see a lock in here, because I don't think you need the counter pick when so many champions are out.
All right, boys, I'm going to hate myself for saying this, but I think it's Thresh Aphelios.
No.
Yes, I think it's time. Labrov was the OG Thresh King.
No.
No, he wasn't the OG Thresh King. But this is definitely not. Oh,
no, you know the pick that Labrov loves in dire situations, it's Blitzcrank. He absolutely loves Blitzcrank. So maybe we see it.
Compositionally, boys. For the average person at home, they see Ornn, they go, scaling 80 carry. Corki's going to hit some of those notes. Is Jhin Corki enough to justify this front-to-back team fight top lane pick like Ornn?
I mean, you can have an insane long range to play around with here. On ultimate, the Lily asleep from a ball, you got the Corki rockets, you get the Jhin ultimate. Like, they have a lot of space to play around with in a composition of Fnatic that is quite low range.
I mean, Medusa are coming in last. I thought they would pick it on 4, picked it on 5. But I really like BDS comp. I think they have a lot of strong lanes. Okay, Ornn is losing against Renekton, but still the Corki and the Jhin will be pushing early, giving the Lilia time to kind of avoid the Nidalee, because I think if Nidalee goes to 20 minutes and is even, I think the Lilia is the jungler you'd rather have in your team.
On the side of Fnatic, what are we looking at here in the early game? Is it as simple as just survive bottom side of the map and allow Razork to run free on the top side?
I definitely would look at Razork getting his first full clear off and then playing on that Fated Asher Spike. Let's see how well he can invade, using the top side prior, especially in the Renekton, as your mid lane is going to get pushed in as well as your bot.
Yeah, but I also just gotta say, I have my eyes on Humanoid. Earlier today, we saw him bring out Yone for the first time in his career. He absolutely smurfed on it. His CS was through the roof. His damage was crazy in the mid to late game, and I think he is someone that you have to keep your eye on.
We're going to have to see if it's enough. The man might have struggled to hit a couple Q3s, but he hit the ultis when they counted. Fnatic versus BDS, Game 3. Casters, take it away.
Thank you very much, Dracos. We're here for Game 3. Winner goes through to an upper bracket match versus G2 or MDK, depending on who wins tomorrow. The loser will go into our lower side of the bracket. Worlds qualification on the line here in the season finals, alongside, of course, the ability to call yourself the LEC champion of 2025.
It is. We'll do it when we get
into
the game. Yeah.
We've shot for it.
Wow.
You can call yourself that, won't be true. 2024.
We're jumping into Game 3. We'll see if BDS can make the reverse swoop happen. But just to clarify, so G2 has the ability to do the funniest thing, because they've already qualified for Worlds.
Yes.
In the past, because our top 3 would qualify, a win here could also qualify you into Worlds. But that's not exactly the case, depending on the results. I'm not going to go into all those results right now, but basically, because G2 have already qualified, just getting top 3 doesn't necessarily guarantee you a spot at Worlds.
Yeah, because if G2 lose, they're already at Worlds, right? So finals guarantees you a spot at Worlds. We can say that.
Yes.
Win this, win your next series, you are at Worlds.
But also winning this, depending on how results go, could definitely increase your chances.
I think it will increase your chances. I don't think there's any depending on how results go for that one. Betty, but here we are, into the game. We saw Razork throw out a spear towards the top bush. Adam was not waiting there, so he didn't get hit. It looks like both the junglers are likely to start on the top side of the map. Ward goes out from Shao. He's actually pathing down towards the bottom side. Just placed that ward to spot if his top side is being invaded.
Yeah, I'm curious. I would imagine Razork is going to move down to his bottom side, because what we saw the last time was him, the last time we brought it to Nidalee, was going for this very quick gank top side on towards BB in that game 5 of the upper bracket, and then able to get that early kill and run away with it. But starting on this top side, I wasn't sure if they're going to go for some sort of dive, but it looks like instead going to try and play around potentially on this bottom end of the map, where you will get some sort of push, but I think there's way less of a dive potential. So more than likely to be full clear for the Nidalee, and then maybe look for a playoff of next time your camps are spawning up towards that top end.
Interesting to see a leash here from Ice and Labrov. We're able to get here in time to catch that minion, but it just accelerates Shao's path through the jungle when you get level 2. When you get that watch out Eep, you have a lot more single target damage. So Be able to clear slightly quicker than Razork. You can see he's about half a camp ahead right now.
Thanks for saying it, Jenny.
That's what I'm here for.
Appreciate it.
I'm just watching League of Legends, General. You carry on.
Yeah, sure.
No, I was
chilling on your
I was actually,
on the sofa.
I was actually just very entertained by watching Labrov just yeet people with this stuff, and I was just kind of just quietly enjoying that to myself.
You do see lane priority though. You can see Noah already at 13 CS. There is a stacked wave up here, so Ice will be able to get some of that back, but it's not going to be an 8 CS catch-up. That's what the differential is right now. Extends to 9.
The surprising one for me is Humanoid having that push in mid, so I think that may have been intentional from Nuke to let him get that push, which is why we're seeing Jun now lean up towards this mid lane to just guarantee this gets pushed in. You can see Humanoid taking a little bit of punishment from Nuke every time, so hopefully as Jun pushed up mid, Nuke backs off, but I think Nuke still has a good spot to just freeze this and put pressure on towards a potential Sheo gank.
Sheo will be spotted as he goes towards the tri-bush, past his Krugs if he does decide to path that way. Razork's caught up in jungle pathing. Sheo actually working his way past his red buff bush. It looks like with the push in mid, Humanoid and Razork are both going to step towards the top side. Sheo caught out, flashes immediately. Humanoid dashes across the wall. The chase continues as Sheo falls for first blood. Razork trying to hit the spear here. Nuke trading back in, still has the flash and the Valkyrie to dash away. Will escape to fight another day, but first blood to Fnatic.
I mean, the timing was just perfect there from Fnatic. I think that Sheo, the idea is, oh, my mid wave is pushed in, let me head over, maybe I can alleviate some of that pressure, maybe I can interrupt the base from Humanoid. He was not expecting both Razork and Humanoid to just be lying in that bush, and to his credit, he respect flashes immediately. He doesn't hesitate, he doesn't take the gamble, but they just collapse over the wall. Nidalee, Yone have that type of mobility. The fact that first blood goes over to Humanoid, one of the worst champions that you could give it to in the early game.
100%, yeah, double scuttle as well. Double buffs for Humanoid, double scuttle for Razork if he wants it. Actually started pathing up towards the top side, went out of vision, then went back down towards bot. Nuke caught with the spear! He tries to flash, he can't dash those claws! Razork gets on the board, 2-0 Fnatic.
Razork's Nidalee real, man. This is the second time now we've seen this brought out, and he has looked fantastic on it. And the fact that Humanoid now has red buff, specifically in this mid lane as well, is huge, because a lot of what Nuke wants to do is play with range, poke him out, but now with red buff and the fleet footwork, Humanoid is going to be able to farm up a Storm, and he's already 700 gold ahead.
You know now that every time Fnatic's coach looks Razork in the eye and says, I really want you to play Sejuani, he now has the authority to go, no.
He just prints out the score from these two games, holds it up.
Because you're completely right. It was game 5 against Fnatic in the upper bracket final where he locked in the Nidalee. We saw the first pick Renekton, and we were baffled. And he made it work to perfection, and it was off the back of these very early ganks. While criticism has been levied towards Fnatic ability to snowball, the one thing you can't say is Fnatic, Razork, I should say, he knows how to use a lead on Nidalee, and we're going to get to see him do it once again.
Pathing down towards the bottom side, Sheo is a camp behind, has no camps down in his blue side quadrant either, only the Krugs available to him. He's going to start up this Drake with Razork in the vicinity, and Humanoid already pushed out mid. I wonder if a collapse will happen from Fnatic. The wave in bot lane starting to push in towards them. Now they'll see Ice and Labrov moving away. Indications that the Drake has been started by BDS, but no fight coming from Fnatic.
Humanoid just ulted in the mid lane though, didn't end up connecting with it, looks like on towards Nuke, so Nuke could have started to play a little bit more aggressive, but now on the bot side.
Labrov able to keep Jun at bay for the moment, takes half his health, uses the Drake as a taxi away, and it is secured for BDS. They get something on the board, but a 2k deficit currently sits in favor of Fnatic. Oscar in looking for a plate here. Call of the Forge God coming out. There's the first Brittle proc, the second into the Dominus, and Oscar will survive by popping an ult of his own.
We now have to turn our attention to the Krugs, because the reality is that Sheo has the ability to go back to base. I say that Razork actually went back to base first. He's already back out onto the map. The pings are coming down from BDS. It's Humanoid that has control over this wave for the time being. A very healthy lead he's been able to find. You have to credit a lot of that to the double buffs that he was sitting on not too long ago. Oscar, though, with the push, committing his ultimate. Yeah, it looks like BDS making the smart call. They're too slow to respond. They recognize they're not going to be in a position, and Razork just leveraging the mobility and clear speed of this Nidalee to secure the grubs uncontested.
Also, the fact he's cleared his bot side jungle means there's little that Shale can kind of do to invade, look for something. Maybe you can get some vision down to spot out where Razork is, but not really a big option. Oscarinin, though, not having that ultimate means they're a little wary of going for the dive against Adam, especially with flash up and available for him. So I think it'll be more Razork moving back into his own jungle, resetting, and then going out to pick up his red as he spawns on the bottom side.
Makes the most sense. Still want to be farming up on that Nidalee. Get yourself up towards your first item. Faded Ashes and the Haunting Guys sitting in his inventory. Oscarinin, once again, looking for plates here. Needs a chunk of damage from Adam. Call the Meek. We'll get him a bit of healing back. And Razork on this side of the map, but Adam holds the wave outside of tower. Jun dashed forward onto Humanoid. The grand entrance coming out as well. Humanoid took about, 3/4 of his HP, but does have the TP to get back in, and Jun will clear this wave. Clear this ward, in the face of Lebov. Or at least try to. Can't quite get there in time. Lebov knocks him away.
Lean now on top side though, Oscarinin kind of low.
With the wave bouncing back towards Oscar, Adam's going to try and jump away, but the spear connects through the Ruthless Predator. Stun Adam! Still able to put the clap back down on Oscarinin. Razork will get his second of the game, a 1-for-1 exchange.
I mean, best case scenario really there for Adam. That was a situation where Fnatic shouldn't have been able to find a very easy pick, but he's able to at the very least get something back. The big problem is, look at this Nidalee, 1.2k gold lead for Razork. He's just continuing to snowball out of control. BDS though, gathering around mid, looking at hold on to control around this wave. They need to go back and catch that wave bot though. I guess they want to make sure that Nuke can get this push in.
Good damage from Humanoid. You can see Lilia for Sheo trying to hit with the bowling ball on towards Humanoid as he dashed back towards his soul and down, but doesn't end up connecting. So BDS will just force back. Noah gets the push on bot. So you're seeing the waves getting shoved in very quickly for Fnatic, which means they'll be back out onto the map, can then look to push out waves, the next 2 or 3 waves when they get back as well, and then look towards 2 minutes on Drake, 2 minutes on Void Grubs. And I imagine it'll be the Void Grub take for them again, because side lane control is just very good for them right now.
I mean, honestly, I think if you're a Fnatic fan, you should be pretty optimistic based on the series that we've seen. Game 1, we saw them actually being able to execute upon their composition. In Game 2, we saw them find some promising picks, but ultimately come back from a deficit. And now in Game 3, they're demonstrating their early game dominance, which is what they showcased in the finals. Let's see if they can snowball this. Oh,
he dodges away. The fate sealed there. Lebov with the knockback. Lebov has the Unbreakable Will though and dash back. Stun landing from that trample onto Humanoid in the end. Should do about nothing in the mid lane as neither team really able to get the upper hand.
Just getting another wave pushed in. Humanoid will want to reset just a little bit to try and get himself in position for the next dragon, but good poke from Fnatic at the moment. Razork doing a great job.
Nidalee. It's very obnoxious. Razork with good control over the bot side river. And yeah, just keeping it dark for BDS is just gives so many advantages to Razork. Mobility as well. They want to try and steal that Gromp.
Spear connects. Razork can pounce forward or just go for the smite. Smite into those claws is enough to get him another camp off the map.
Is that a full 2 level? No, it's about a level and a half difference between them.
Level and a half difference and 30 CS, Vedius. 1.5k gold lead now for the Cats.
Look at the amount of vision that was set up behind BDS here. It makes it very, very difficult for them to really try and play in towards this dragon. Thank you, observers. You can see it there. Like, if you're trying to contest dragon, it's nigh on impossible. So Fnatic, with these resets, should be able to get it back out and look towards that push. But you see where Razork is in the map. He's moved back up to clear his top side. So imagine going to walk back through mid to contest that. But maybe they are just going to look for Void Grubs. Although with the amount of vision that they have, I think it's just a good time to look for the dragon.
I think it's just a reset timer thing. Noah wanted to go back to base, get his item, but he needed a few extra waves, so now he decided to back. You can see him now making his way onto the map, and Razork's like, you know what? I got camped top side, my clear speed is super fast, I can grab these, and honestly, they might even be in a position to contest as well. TP is available for Oscar. Humanoid, he's a little low on HP, he probably has an item that he's close to securing as well, so maybe they're just happy to concede that trade.
Yeah, Nuke had to go back to base as well. He was completely out of mana, so he's got a TP back in. Adam is now going to TP back in, so it looks like it's going to be give up on Dragon entirely, and they're going to look for the dive on Adam.
BDS not going for the Drake either right now. Razok is behind Adam. He's already been hit by a spear, as you can see, chunked out on that health bar. Call of the Forge God coming out. Oscar in him will tank. Another spear connects. Adam trying to dash away. There's so much damage on him, but he's able to turn it around to Oscar. A 1-for-1 exchange in the top lane once again.
And he got the majority of the wave thanks to the ultimate too, so yes, you end up getting that kill, but Oscar Urnan falls, keeping the top side even. But Razork a 1.7 thousand gold lead. And he's going to start roaming that down towards the Dragon. He is sitting on a lot of gold, but so maybe Fnatic don't want to overextend for that.
I mean,
but he's in such a good spot.
Credit to Adam individually. I think that he's played pretty well in the situations that he's been thrown himself into.
Yeah.
But in the context of the greater game, Razork finds himself with 3-0-1. The Dragon starting off.
I mean, this is really bad for BDS. They think they can do this easily, but Oscar has TP and Adam does not. So if Fnatic decide they want to take this fight, it becomes very tricky for BDS. Fnatic aren't going for it, and unfortunately, the TP advantage doesn't really mean too much as they decide not to bring Oscar into the fight.
It's mainly just because of the timing of Humanoids. Yeah. He'd just come back into mid lane basically as the Dragon was falling. We look back at this top lane play, the TP comes through, initial spear lands, good damage of course from Razork. Then used, as you noted, Medic, Adam uses his ultimate to try and clear out the wave as quickly as he can. He's able to thin this out. Oscar takes a lot of damage, but we're back to live.
Humanoid caught out, jumps away with a Fate Seal, but he's gonna have a quick nap. For a second can dash back, but it won't buy him much time. He flashes the wall, the shield from Jun. Humanoid dashes back in, but Sheo puts him to a final sleep. BDS get their third on the board.
I'm not really sure what Humanoid was doing there.
I had the same thought.
Yeah, like, I thought he'd just go bot to clear out the wave. It looks like they're trying to swap where Humanoid was positioned on the map, but going through a river that BDS had already taken for themselves for Dragon is bizarre.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the logic. I'm not sure what it was. Maybe he saw a ward off a control ward that he thought he could go and grab, but either way, he ends up dying for it. Red buff tried to be stolen by Razork, but he's not able to secure it. Level 11 now. That
highest level in the game.
That is quite a strong... Oh, we're going to get a POV. Oh, yeah. So you called it. He's just rotating towards bot lane, but he's not allowed to go this way.
Yeah, it's a really green path to rotate to bot lane. And then also, after getting knocked back by Lebrov, walking back forward into
like,
it.
I'm going this way, Lebrov, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. And then the rest of his team go, are you sure about that? Yeah, so he dies. Big mistake there.
When you can't kill the mobs around the big boss, if you don't try and force your way into that area, you know?
Humanoid being matched by Adam down towards the bottom side. Fnatic still 2,500 gold ahead. The Call of the Forge God being used by Adam. Humanoid dodges it with the Morsel of Steel Q3.
Yeah, Blade of the Rune King. It's a very nice spike for Yone. And there's really not much Ornn is going to be able to do about this. Be careful about the tower shot. Nicely done.
Humanoid just dashed in there, didn't get an auto attack down on the tower, and took about half his health.
Got it.
Suboptimal, but still fine. As Adam was able to clear out the wave. Did of course have to burn that Call of the Forge God earlier on. Fnatic out to almost a 4k gold lead now, and Humanoid, as you say, with that Blade of the Ruin King, will be able to rip through Adam if they are isolated in a 1v1 and there's no tower to defend the Ornn.
So with no real objectives on the map, teams now turn to things like the side lane out of towers. With the BDS, you could look at top side, for example. You can build up a slow stacked wave with the top wave, slowly invest your vision on towards the top side of the map and cross-map that tower for a bot one, which is the one that Fnatic is likely setting their sights on. Mid used to be a high priority target, but at this point in the time, you shift your AD carries towards mid lane, and because of double static shiv, it's just too much wave clear, so it's a difficult objective to siege. And then the question from the teams becomes, do we cross-map or do we fight? And based on the positioning of BDS, it looks like that they're here to try and stop the siege coming through from Fnatic. You can see them looking to try and push in mid, get control over the bot side vision, but BDS is contesting them over this vision.
Yeah, it looks like trying to compete for this bottom wave, but they will eventually have to send someone on towards that top side. I think that's where this plan is going to fall apart for BDS. So Fnatic can shift Humanoid down. They're shifting Noah now as well, just using the fact they have that wave push, and now they can overload this bottom side of the map.
Yeah, because typically, as Dagda was just saying, the way that you would force your way in is by using numbers, right? So you overstack, you put one mid, you bring 4 bot, and then you move as 5 in towards the bot side jungle once you got that mid push. But because they have the Herald and because they have Yone, they can kind of do whatever whatever they want. And Fnatic, they have a nice top push. They've got push in mid. They're actually going to use their pressure on bot to unlock mid.
Nice getting chased out. Call of the Fortune coming out from Adam as they look for Razork. The tower still standing for the moment. Quickness out by Jun. Razork able to buy a second. The charm not enough as Razork falls. Adam gets one. Jun eats the curtain call and he'll go down as well. BDS find 2. They lose pressure in the bot side though as Oscar Winning should be able to take this tower.
So as Fnatic are trying to get that numbers advantage, BDS drop bot tier 1 in lieu of saying, hey, we can overload the mid lane instead and try and catch Fnatic with our numbers advantage. It does mean though that they lose both towers in response for Razork's life. Sure, it's a shutdown, but honestly, I think Fnatic are kind of just happier to have that map stayed in their favor.
My initial read on that play was over-eagerness from Fnatic, a degree of hubris where I want to see the replay just so that I can... Because I wonder if that wasn't over. Because I'm like, why is Razork this deep, right? And so we'll kind of look at the map. So they're on vision. You can see the collapse coming through. I guess maybe no, they should see Adam as well. So I just think this was an overzealous play from Razork. The most impressive thing is the fact that Razork takes so long to die. Nice play from Jun to charm up Ice, but yeah, bit of an overstep.
TP going in, counter TP by BDS, but Cheryl's already so low. The Lilting Lullaby going out is dodged by Humanoid. Fate sealed, gets him out to safety. Oscar Winning trading onto Nuke now. Just needs a couple more auto attacks. Can he get in range? Adam trying to keep him at bay. Nuke dodging away, but the Meek puts him in his place. Oscar Winning finds another. Kaiser collapsing as well. Noah has that killer instinct. The spear going wide, and Noah dashing in now. Adam down to half HP. Jun here as well. BDS wiped away in the top lane.
It's a complete collapse from BDS. They had some defense on mid, but top has fallen apart, and now Fnatic, they're just taking over the map. Even Humanoid TPing the bot side. They're just going to push all these waves in and control the map.
See, you're running into the problem that we talked about in Game 1, who deals with Yone. It's one of the reasons why he is becoming such a strong pick. His laning is not that bad, and he gets to a point around one item, really, where he can just outduel most people. And so he did a great job in the side lane. He solo killed Sheo, and arguably he should have had his life traded, but with some fancy play, he's able to get away with his life, and a nice TP from Oscar, also helping secure those additional kills. Fnatic extending the kill lead, extending the overall gold lead, and they're likely going to get their first dragon of the game.
And imagine phase checking into Fnatic as well. You already highlighted the mid lead, but in towards Humanoid, in towards Jun, Oscar Rinnan, like this is not a fun time for BDS. Yeah, bowling ball to try and get something, but
even Noah as he gets towards 3, 4 items, like he's just chucking out those Prey Seekers, Void Seekers. That's the name of them. Prey Seekers.
Together we
Rex IQ. Yeah.
The thing about tanks into Renekton is that they do make sense in terms of like team fight value later on. But into Yone and a side lane, they just struggle. They can't do it. They can't even really hold the wave, especially against this champ that can use E, and he can like tower dive you. Like he does this, right? He hits you with a W, hits you with his Q. Obviously, this doesn't look like a great trait now, which kind of defeats my point.
But he heals it up. Like look at his health.
And then he just heals it back up, yeah. And so this is what he just gets to keep doing, which is why the Ornn is going to struggle, right? The early Bramble Vest, obviously big purchase from Adam, going to offer a lot of value. And then Razork has the ability to just kind of play around whoever he wants.
I mean, Jun's just used his dash. Lilting Lullaby coming out. The quickness will get him as far away as possible as Adam dies in the bottom lane. Jun trying to escape. Grand entrance will be back up, but shouldn't buy him enough time to survive this. BDS get a 1-for-1 exchange across the map, but they lose a tier 2 for doing so.
Yeah, look, Jun shouldn't have been there, but 1-for-1. Not the end of the world. You get the tower for Fnatic. It's not going to change the course of this game. And honestly, the tower is falling in favor of this Yone, are only going to make the map state worse for BDS. So Fnatic, in the grand scheme of things, still very much ahead.
Ultimately, a surprising series, given how dominant Fnatic have been. We look back at this play from the bot side of the map, and oh, the spear does connect. Ultimate comes through, and just the damage from the duo is too much for Adam to deal with.
I mean, it's also Adam using Bellows Breath when he sees Nidalee's nearby on a ward, right? You're going to get locked up immediately afterwards if you hit the Q3 on the Yone or if you hit the Fate Sealed. So perhaps a little bit greedy looking for the wave clear there. Knew that Nidalee was nearby.
And earlier I mentioned a surprising series, but perhaps that's unfair of me because what Fnatic are demonstrating is their upper bracket performance from playoffs, right? They did dominate their way through the playoffs. They did defeat G2 initially in the 3-2 series, and it seems to be the return to form from Fnatic. When some of the pressure seems to have been taken off, it feels like that they're playing the way in which they found success in the past, and they're dominating.
Even in the first half of every game of finals, they played really well, right? It just feels like perhaps they fixed a few of those issues. The early game hasn't been as purely impactful today as it was on that finals day. They haven't gone out to as large a lead. In this game, though, they've developed a 7K gold lead. They're in prime position to close this one out and close out the series as well. Move through to our upper bracket matches.
But more question marks are going to raise around BDS, right? Yeah. Especially when they looked promising against G2 as well. Following that, they were confident that they actually had more to show. And then coming into this series, they just haven't been able to close any of these games out. Of course, they will still be in the season finals and move into our lower bracket. But yeah, they're going to have to fix a lot in a short amount of time to be ready to ultimately try and qualify for Worlds and fight for the title of season finals.
They're getting good control on this top side now, though. Just trying to use the fact that they can shift back and forth between mid and top and put pressure on towards BDS. BDS trying desperately to hold on to some control. I think Fnatic will slowly but surely start to choke them out, especially as the poke lands.
Oscar moving down towards the bottom side. He'll catch that wave. Humanoids up in top. Both of them have their teleports, but so do Adam and Nuke. So Adam is more likely to answer Oscar when they see him down towards the bottom side. Currently, no one's going there. No tier 2 stands there either. Baron begun by Fnatic. No vision for BDS. Humanoid continues to push in.
Actually have no idea.
Humanoid continues to push in. It might just be sacking his own life here for the Baron. Oscar's still in the bottom side. Has that TP. Humanoid dodges away with a bait seal, but Nuke's here to close in. There's the Baron taken by Fnatic, and Humanoid's looking to take the life of Nuke alongside it. In the end, Sheo gets the kill, but Oscar with that Baron buff, with the 6 grubs as well, almost takes the inhibitor. If he backs in the right place, the inhibitor tower will go down.
That is a really good use of Yone to secure Baron. They cleared out all the vision. They created this massive point of pressure top. 4, 5 members went to try and shut down this Yone. He almost gets a kill onto Nuke. And yeah, okay, you don't have the Baron on Yone, but ultimately you secure the objective uncontested. But you secure the bot tier 3 as well. Just overall, great play from Fnatic.
Yeah, Fnatic running the map, and then BDS are struggling to find really answers. Yeah, get the pick, but it's not much. And now with Dragon in 20 seconds, Fnatic really establishing themselves on the map. They push in waves. They might have even catched out Brov here if Jun wants to go, but I'm going to take it a little slow here. Just get the vision instead.
Even if Jun W's over the wall, if Lavrov times his Q properly, he wouldn't get knocked out by it, so he would be able to escape that. If there was more collapsing on him, I'd be a bit more worried.
I'd just be a little worried about the self-CC from the Pulverize more than Nidalee Spear, that's all.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there, Rob.
And meanwhile, Razork is suffocating the jungle camps. He is 3 levels up.
That's one way to kill him.
He's yeah, but Sheo is just being denied all form of farm experience, and like it's a great thing that you at home can do as well. Like when you have this type of lead, rather than trying to force your way into towers, just deny as much farm and experience from your opponents as possible. Really make that level discrepancy and item discrepancy that much bigger.
I think the major issue I have with that, Betty, is assuming anyone who's watching this would ever get this sort of lead on a Nidalee jungle. We are in Europe after all. Perhaps if we were...
You can do it with leads in general.
Oh, okay. That's understandable.
But not Nidalee.
Yeah, don't play Nidalee in my solo queue games, please. I don't trust any of you. You too, Kadril. None of us trust you. We now look at these sieges towards these tier 2 towers. Baron's still available, and Fnatic are gonna make quick work of them. And that bot inhibitor exposed. Yone likely gonna start making his way towards that. The spear, that is 50% of Nuke's HP.
Yeah, there's no one really that can tank it for BDS either. Lavrov doesn't have his Warmogs up yet, nor does he have the upgrade. If Adam is around, sure, but he's built predominantly armor so far. Thornmail, Sunfire Cape, and now a little bit of Magic Resist alongside it. But he has to try and deal with Humanoid in the side lane, who just dashes back using that Soul Unbound. And now Fnatic move 3 people towards the mid lane, transition to pressure this tower once again. Next wave in top is coming in soon. Rob just using the combo to try and clear out that wave a little bit quicker. 10,000 gold the lead now for Fnatic, and that upper bracket spot in their eyes. For BDS, they've fallen foul of Fnatic once already this year in a best of 5. Then they were reverse swept. Here, the story very different. Fnatic basically have been in control for the majority of the series.
Yeah, and again, I wouldn't say that it's been a clean series from start to finish, right? We've seen fumbles from Fnatic. Game 1, we had some question marks around some of their setups around the objectives, their mid-game macro, but they were able to ultimately find good execution on the fight. And and they were getting picked left, right, and center in game 2. So there's definitely room for improvement on the side of Fnatic, but ultimately, it is an improvement from the last series that we saw from them. And that's ultimately what I think a lot of Fnatic fans wanted to see, a stronger version of Fnatic, the Fnatic that they showed us pretty consistently throughout summer for the most part, and I think that they've showed that today.
On the opposite side, though, for BDS, it still feels like a lot of their issues are still there, where they're not really sure how they want to try and orchestrate in the early stages, not seeing the jungle support link up in the way that we would want to, and they're trying to fall back to team fights, but they're not being able to set up properly for those team fights. So I think for BDS, it kind of raises a lot more of those questions coming into what will be them if Fnatic close out this game successfully, going down to the lower bracket.
I mean, I wonder if a bit of an identity crisis for the side of BDS, which surprises me because I felt like Nuke ultimately did have some really huge moments in summer. I mean, we were having conversations around like who is the second best mid laner.
I mean, he solo killed a humanoid.
Yeah, yeah. So the expectation's certainly high, but he's felt very muted this series, and that's not to say that it's entirely been his fault. BDS haven't been able to really find many big team fight wins in their favor, but yeah, back to the drawing board will be the situation for BDS, assuming this game goes the way that we expect, based on the current state of the game. Baron in about a minute 20. We imagine that Fnatic is waiting for that objective. This will be one of the moments that BDS can find an avenue back into the game. If they can find that steal, or if they can find a good fight around that objective, it'll give them time to stall out the game, maybe get a few more items, and give them more opportunities to fight in this series.
BDS looking to see perhaps if they can catch Oscar in up towards this top side. If Nuke hit a rocket, then Ice can follow up with the Deadly Flourish to try and get that root down. Can't find it. Razzle was waiting in the wings anyway, and you can see the damage from the spears. Lebrov takes half his health, still doesn't have that Warmog, so we'll have to retreat to the base if he wants to heal up that damage. The entire jungle is littered with Fnatic wards in case BDS ever have the opportunity to walk out of their base, but they haven't had that luxury over the last few minutes. They've got a couple of wards of their own. Drake up in a minute's time, Baron in 30 seconds. But Fnatic are just, going to take away this Gromp, take away another camp, suffocate, as you say, Vetti Sheo out of the game.
How do you try and shift out of this as BDS? Because there's so much control in this bot side jungle, even on the top side as well. The second you move in, you're walking into a bunch of poke, to a bunch of AoE CC. It's incredibly difficult. They're getting some semblance of control here back on top side because they're foregoing bottom because they know Fnatic are going to try and teeter over towards that next dragon, and maybe they can hold on, but Oscarin just takes a bit of a love tap.
Just using his health bar as an exchange for vision control. And people at home might be wondering why haven't Fnatic just ended the game? They're 10,000 gold ahead, they can just win, right? Well, they don't have the most range when it comes to sieging towers, Nidalee ranged auto attacks and a Kai'Sa there as well. They can split push, but there's enough wave clear on the side of BDS to try and catch those waves before the split push really becomes too impactful. So you can see what they're doing is trying to pull BDS out of their base a little bit, let Humanoid push in bot, get the in-hit, but as soon as they get the Baron, that becomes mitigated a lot. The waves push in a lot easier for them.
You do have to be careful of grouping up as Fnatic, because that engage is still very threatening for BDS. Adam into a flash follow from Lebrov, so trying to keep BDS separated and look more for skirmishes is ideal for Fnatic. And you could think, hey, look, you've got poke with Noah and Razork, just play it out that way, but that's when you're most vulnerable against this composition from BDS.
Not the most explosive style, but it's definitely the most patient and the one that has the highest odds of winning Fnatic the game. Get the Baron, do it safely, clear out all the vision from BDS. You can go for the Drake if you want, but it's not Soul, and it's a Chem Drake, so who really cares about that? Instead, just push in. Bait Seal coming out from Humanoids. He looks to put the damage down onto Adam. He'll have to dash back with the Soul and Bound, but Noah does not have to do the same. Noah dives in with a Killer Instinct, and Fnatic find another.
This is a result of BDS. While the Baron was going on, they tried to attack Humanoid on the bot side of the map. He was completely safe, in no real danger, and now Adam finds himself overextended on the bot side for an easy collapse from Fnatic. Now with the frontliner gone, Fnatic have an easy way into the base. They're continuing to play on all three lanes. Oscar pushes in top, and BDS are crumbling under the multi-lane pressure from Fnatic.
And you can see how much easier it is to push in with the Baron-empowered minions, right? Obviously, when you kill Adam, it becomes easier to push into the base as well. But the wave play from BDS just doesn't get through the extra tankiness of those minions. Triple inhib down. Adam up in 13 seconds time. BDS still holding on to hope in this series, but the hope sure to be extinguished soon, I'm sure. Humanoid flashes away there. Could have been knocked up by Lebrov. The first Nexus tower has fallen. Fnatic Just doing it by the numbers. Call of the Forge God, the curtain call comes out as well, but there's no encore here for BDS. Oscar dives towards the backline, and lilting Lullaby only to one person, and BDS are being the ones sent to sleep. Beautiful combination at the end from Fnatic to put the icing on the cake of a beautiful 3-0.
Fnatic, they definitely seem to be back in form at the very least.
I think decisive stuff from Fnatic. This was by far the cleanest game, and once more, Razork's Nidalee popping off. There is very rare that I get excited about EU Nidalees, but my God, I want to see this man pick this up more often.
I mean, yeah, he picked it in with such confidence too, right? First pick, said lock it in, I have a game plan, and he did exactly what he did last time. Found early leads, he found kills across the board, and he's one of your options for your key player of the series. You can vote at LEC for Razork, Humanoid, or Noah. All very valid options, depending on your preference. But yeah, I definitely think one of the biggest changes we've seen for Fnatic is the fact that they're willing to play around Humanoid so much more in the mid game, right? They just kind of leave Noah isolated in mid, he catches farms, whereas Humanoid will go off to the side and they'll just make sure that he has the resources to be basically become this huge mid to late game threat.
Yeah, and I think that's where you'll see a lot of what you'll expect coming in towards Worlds and everything as well, is just the fact that with Static Shiv so prevalent in the meta, you fight for a mid contest, then play towards sides, and when you've got Humanoid popping off on the One, it makes a lot of sense to just play around him in a side lane.
Does everyone from Fnatic, I think today stepped up. Oscar and had a couple of really good games as well. His Kennen, where he went 0-1-12, still being able to find the backline in a couple of those fights. Did a superb job. In a few moments, we'll be hearing from Trouble Inc. and one of the Fnatic players. Not quite sure who it is as of yet, but I have to remind you guys that tomorrow, G2 are playing up against MDK. The winner of that will face Fnatic next week, I believe. Yeah, it makes the most sense in terms of how time works. If they faced last week, that would be very odd.
I'm actually not entirely sure of the schedule whatsoever.
Yeah, because it's only 2 weeks, so it might be next week is the losers bracket.
There are two more best of fives next weekend. But yes, it's one of those things where I would be hesitant to say that Fnatic are back in form entirely, right? It's only one series. I think that BDS honestly didn't show us as much as they have based on what we saw from them during the split. And so, you know, we'll see how Fnatic continue to develop.
We're winning Worlds.
But it is also, you know, Fnatic only had that bad series against G2. There was a little bit of a stumble towards like the end of it, but realistically, the rest of their playoffs were good. They beat G2 in a really close best of five. So, I mean, it's a bit, like, I'm hoping that this is the Fnatic that we get to continue to see.
Yeah, and the last time Fnatic lost to G2, they lost like 4 games in a row in the regular season. So they've overcome that.
They're just back to back to back.
Now they just start winning everything. If they perform like this across the rest of playoffs as well, season finals, I'll be excited to see how they do coming into the finals weekend. Obviously Munich as well, very exciting to be there. And then Worlds after that. But before that, we do have Trouble standing by. Trouble Inc. standing by with Oscar and Noah in the Marriott Bonvoy post-game check-in.
Trouble reporting for interview duty. Thank you very much, Medic. Noah, Oscar, congratulations for a very swift 3-0. Congratulations for a very swift 3-0. Thank you. Now, Oscar, I want to start with you and ask you about how you've been spending the past 2 weeks. It was a very tough round 2 weeks ago. How have you been spending it until now?
I mean, obviously it was pretty rough to lose against G2 in the final that way. So we've talked a lot about our issues in the team, what we should work on, and I think we are slowly improving it. So yeah, I think everyone is playing a lot of League and is very motivated for season finals and to get revenge against G2.
Of course, and Noah, I know you are very hard on yourself whenever you don't have a good performance. Did you feel good about today? You stole Barons, you popped off on Ezreal.
I can't be happy people win G2, I guess, because I knew we are better than everyone, but we should win G2.
What do you think went wrong in the G2 series? What do you think went wrong? What did you guys do wrong?
I mean, I could carry 100%, but I was still getting pressure and I throw myself. Yeah, so if I solve it, I think we can win G2 for sure. Yeah.
That was a fantastic performance today, Noah. So it's definitely a resurgence. And Oscar, he seems to put a lot of weight on himself. How do you guys help him recover from things like that?
I mean, obviously, we know how he feels and how he thinks and works. So, yeah, we all try to support him a lot. So he feels good, confident, because when I see Noah confident and he's playing good, I think he's a monster, a complete beast.
Looked like it today, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think he just needs to be confident and he will 1v9 every game. So, yeah, we just try to support him.
Let's leave the sad things in the past. Let's jump into now. We were looking forward to this best of because there's been many patches between what happened in the finals and over here. Same old for both of your lanes. Oscar, let's start with you.
I mean, I think there are changes in my lane, but it's just we didn't see a lot today. But I think you can feel it more in the jungle. I think you don't see as much AP junglers, even though they are there for sure. But I think since there is more champions in jungle, there are more champions in top lane and everywhere.
And for you, Noah, does it seem like the patches changed anything in the champion pool?
I mean, I think ADC's got weak, but still meta is similar like champion, so meta was similar.
Oh, wait, you said AD carry is weak?
I mean, static Kraken got nerf, Ezreal got nerf, you know, so they got weak, but still strong, yeah.
Can I get a statement?
He's not fine in the head.
So AD carries are definitely not weak, right?
AD carries are always the most broken role. He's just coping, but it's okay.
All right, thank you very much, guys, for joining me. Congratulations on a very quick 3-0. We're going to toss it over to PGL, where Zork and Humanoid are waiting with Dracos.
Thank you very much, Trouble. Always good to hear from two Fnatic players. Now I have another two Fnatic players here. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me. Did you eat something today? Did you like go in the hyperbolic time chamber in the 2 weeks since we've seen you? That was a 3-0 after, I would say, you know, pretty tough loss to G2. What happened today? Were you guys just on fire? Do you think BDS was a little bit under the weather? What was your impression of that series, Humanoid?
I mean, I think we for sure played better than in the past weeks before. And I also think they did not really play that well. So I guess it's kind of both of these things. And we really worked on being able to finish the game, which we did pretty well today, so yeah.
Yeah, I saw that in a couple of games, and especially in a couple of those clutch team fights. Razork, you were incredibly vocal. Now, I know you've always been pretty active in comms. Is there anything that changed for you after finals or anything you were really focused on today when it came to shouting in fights, other than dropping F-bombs? Because there were a lot of those.
I mean, I think I didn't change much. It's just like more like we realized that against G2, we had really strong early games, and then we were just like throwing the game because we did one mistake, and I think G2 is very good at coming back also. I think, I mean, I had this mistake with Nidalee too, probably on the mid game, but overall, I think as a team, we are working on it. So we are not doing like a lot of random fights. We are trying to set up objective and play around it. Sometimes we do good, sometimes we do wrong, but I think at least we are trying to not like fight without any sense, you know, and then we just lose the game there, like happened against C2, probably.
Yeah, and I like to see that growth and that development. I think one of the things that caught people off guard today was the priority on Yone coming in from you, Humanoid. Is that something that you put a lot of practice into to kind of bring out on stage today? How do you feel about the champ?
Yeah, I mean, he got kind of buffed pretty big, I think, and he was already playable before, so I think it's, yeah, if they don't have a lot of CC, the champion's pretty OP, so I practiced it a lot, and yeah.
How do you feel about your individual performance today? Was this like a good, like a pop-off game for you? Game one, I felt like you were chovying in terms of CS, but it wasn't like the craziest game until that fight.
Yeah, I was stealing my camps.
Not stealing, they were supposed to be mine, but yeah, I mean, I was just farming most of the time, you know, there was not much happening. I think, yeah, they were just overgrouping mid a lot, so they were giving up silent CS, so that's why I was pretty far ahead.
Do you think that's, when people talk about you as a mid laner and the analysts who are behind the stages now talk about you, they talk a lot about how good you are on side lane. Do you think a lot of that comes from other players in the LEC not recognizing when they're like overgrouping?
I think so. I mean, there is for sure a lot of teams that just group mid and look for a fight, and it usually actually works against most teams because it only takes one person to do a mistake in mid lane, and then it's good. But if no one gets caught, then yeah, you're gonna be behind.
It's all just about avoiding random fights. It seems like every team in our league just needs to avoid random fights, if I'm learning anything. Looking a bit more big picture, Razork, you guys have had one of the most wild, like, up and down years of any, which is crazy. I know last year was even more crazy for Fnatic, but this year was crazy. Like, MSI, lose to TL, come back with a vengeance, beat everybody down, lose to TL, beat G2, lose to G2, 3-0 BDS. How are you guys as a team like handling this crazy emotional roller coaster? How does it feel for you guys looking back at the year that has led you now to this point?
I mean, honestly, I think, yeah, it's kind of crazy that we are that emotional team, that we can be actually like a silver team, or we can actually be like tier 1 prime. But I'm actually surprised that, yeah, that we are such a coin flip sometimes. We are working on it. But I think lately we have been really consistent on getting like these early leads. And I think it was very obvious that what we were struggling on was on like Drake setups or like Nash setups. We were just like missing steps and just ended up getting in a like bad fight, and we were just through in the game. And I think we are working on it. And I mean, mentally, I don't know. I mean, this guy, whenever he's feeling it, he's the best player I played in my entire life. But sometimes he just feels like he's doing silver things on the mid lane. So it's not like, like I don't know how to explain it, but. It's just crazy. Marek is just crazy.
Do you have a response, Marek? Because I think this is the discussion we have about you every year, man. Like, you're either like the most goated mid laner, toe-to-toe with Caps, king of mid, lord of the side lane.
I don't know how can I respond to this, you know? I mean, it's probably true. Sometimes I just run it down. I mean, it's not on purpose, you know? Yeah.
Is there anything different that you've noticed, right? Like in your good games, in your bad games, does it always feel the same, or is there anything that like really stands out in the games where you really pop off?
I mean, I think sometimes I sleep really bad before the games, and then
we're getting into the nitty gritty.
So yeah, today I slept good, so it's
hell yeah. Message for the kids: good sleep's important. Never forget. It's the difference between Marek being the GOAT and Marek being silver. Apparently,
exactly.
Ruthless.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, Razork, you got Kia Player of the Series today, so congratulations. I think the Nidalee probably sealed the deal. I asked Marek how he felt about his Yone performance. How do you feel today about your performance?
I think I made 2 crucial mistakes. I think first game, the bot gank was kind of obvious that Morgana was covering. Otherwise, I think I played good that game. The Brand game, I think I got carried. And the Nidalee game, I think I played pretty good. I think I kind of trolled on the mid lane. I got too excited because I was like smurfing, missing, hitting every spear and stuff. I thought I was gonna like have aimbot on my Q, but that one didn't connect, and yeah, it was a bit throw. But I mean, I don't know if I deserve the Kia Player of the Game, but I actually really don't care who gets it, you know.
You got it.
I mean, I got it. I think no, I actually played pretty good too. I think Marek played pretty good too.
Yeah, is there anyone else? Is there anyone that you feel like on your team who doesn't really get enough credit when you guys are winning? Obviously, I think it's always going to go to the player who's like the flashiest.
Yeah, I mean, Oscar does the dirty work with the tanks. So.
The MVP always goes to the guy that like does something good in a team fight, I think, in the winning team fight or something. So yeah, but there's a lot of stuff that's happening in between that is, you know, not seen. So yeah, but it's kind of hard to judge from fans. I mean, I don't know who's actually giving the Kia Player of the Game. I don't know if it's fans.
Yeah, are the fans, but I think it's because they remember the last game, right? And I played really good the Nidalee game, so the voters are like a bit biased because they're like,
yes.
Oh, he just played really good on Nidalee,
like
but he just
if it was a best of 3,
you know?
Noah would have got it for the MF Baron steal, probably. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Are you still blown away? I don't want to spend too much time here. We have a bracket to take a look at here momentarily, but the last question about kind of this series in general before we look ahead. You were swearing, I know, because you were swearing a lot. How do you guys, in that game too, how did it feel to you? Because you were kind of already on the road to victory, and then randomly your 80s on the other side of Baron Pit, stealing Baron. What were you thinking in that moment?
I mean, I was just thinking, to be honest, that we are going to win the fight, kind of no matter what, I think. So the Baron steal was just, you know, an extra. So yeah, I mean, I didn't even notice it while I was fighting. I just noticed it after, and yeah, I'm like, okay, nice. I guess we win.
I have to say it was pretty unlucky though. I saw the HP and it was like 1,203 HP, and the smite is 1.2, so it was like 3 HP, and then the ulti of MF took it. I don't think she smited bad. I think it was really unlucky.
Yeah, I don't think he smited in the end, actually.
He didn't smite?
If I remember the replay correctly, then it was...
Then I don't know what to say.
Yeah, it might have been a little unlucky. I'm not going to quote it 100%, because I remember...
he smited, actually.
He smited? Well, I might have missed it in the replay then. I was pretty sure I saw it without. Either way, let's take a look at the bracket now, updating where we stand. You guys, one step closer to Worlds. Very, very close, in fact, as long as G2 join you in the finals. you're there. As long as G2 make it to the finals, you're there. Obviously, still some uncertainty because they've already secured a spot. It is top 3. I feel like, short of an MDK crazy upset, we're gearing up for another G2 rematch. Humanoid, for you, is there anything, are you focused on that match? Was there anything you're thinking about? Obviously, Razork talked about not taking bad fights. Is there anything else you're thinking about when it comes to a potential G2 rematch?
I mean, I think we just have to not take it so serious because we have lost to them so many times in a row. I feel like when we play them, it's just kind of a different feeling now that we are like, oh, we lost so many times, we can't do it again, and then there's more stress. I think if we just take it easy and think it's a different team, think it's maybe Genji or something, then we will win.
Yeah, for sure we'll win if it was Genji.
Yeah.
If we think it's Genji.
Oh, I see.
Is it just because it's so serious and you put so much pressure on yourself, it's just you make a big deal out of things that don't really need to be a big deal?
I mean, I think so, because, yeah, I don't think we would have lost the 3 games that we lost last, or 2 weeks ago, or wherever it was, against another team, so, yeah.
All right, adjust the mental, stop maybe fighting stupid fights, seems to be the cliff notes for all the Fnatic fans out there. Prediction for tomorrow, G2 3-0, is MDK coming back? Anything, MDK, I mean, they're mystery guys. It's a Spanish team. They got here, they scraped in.
Maybe a 3-1. They will throw one game, you know.
I think so too, actually.
But it's, okay, so you're basically saying a 3-0, but you're giving them that G2 might throw a game.
Yeah, I mean, I think they might just do a random draft and have fun because, yeah, I can't see Mad Lions winning, to be honest, yeah.
All right, well, I'm gonna hope that my analysts on the desk tomorrow have a little bit more in terms of angles for MDK to win. But congrats again, gentlemen, on the 3 over BDS.
Thank you.
Into the upper bracket. We'll see if it'll be G2 or MDK facing you tomorrow. That's gonna do it for us here. LEC, first day of the season finals, done and dusted. G2 versus MDK tomorrow to see who will face Fnatic and who will get knocked down to the lower bracket. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.
The assault and battery, Lebrov with a knockup, tries to get Noah out of the situation, and the Unbreakable falls off, and Ice opens up the big guns.
Can you TP, Oscar? We can fight this. Kill him. Yeah, I'm tanking. Tower. Is that, Ali? Look, do you have a position now to go, guys? Look at Morgana, guys. Morgana. One shot Morgana. Morgana is dead. Casante. Go Nasaster, guys. Drake and Nas, okay? Yeah, nice counter pick, brother.
Using that powerful ultimate to chunk away, and he goes in. Humanoid though dashes him back with the Emperor's Divine, the outplay.
Leona. Oh, Camille. You should come, Camille, guys. I stand here. I can go, They will finish. No, take him. Oh my god, you stole it! Oh my god.
There is Leona somewhere. No, go here. Leona is dead.
Let's fight this. You can play some, maybe can you go to
I'm looking good.
Yeah, no bridge.
Rakan, no flash, Rakan. Yeah, jump, one more jump. No jump. No flash.
Nice.
I heal you?
No,
I got chain.
No push Lila again.
Holy.
That's my own name, man. I told you.
I don't wanna die, guys.
Gör det.
Oh!